Right, okay, it is Street Talk time, and we have got 5 stories to talk about this. Oh, no, I totally forgot the clickbait. We've got clickbait to talk about this, haven't we? Got sent in last night, thank you, Jonathan, and I forwarded it to Gemma and forgot all about it since then. But have we got some good ones this week?
Yes, thank you, Jonathan.
Fantastic.
Right.
What have the tabloids been saying about this week?
From the Metro, Coronation Street fans work out a shocking twist in Meghan's story.
Oh. And this isn't, like, there has been a fair few twists this week as it is. It's not just referring to the twist that has already been revealed, like, she got an abortion before, is it?
Just tell me what twists.
She had an abortion.
Yeah, literally, it's just people throwing spaghetti at the wall in this article.
Go on.
She was never pregnant. She had a termination already. She is still pregnant. It's not Will's baby, it's the other boy's baby. All of the things that everyone...
Well, I thought it was quite good because we finished. When was it? Was it Wednesday's episode? I think when she said that she'd lost the baby, and that's with us. It was saying, oh, was she ever pregnant to begin with? Could it have been Daniel's? Did she lose the baby during this? Did she go and get the termination last week? I mean, although they pretty much explained it at the end of Thursday's episode what happened, I thought it was quite a nice ending to the episode that got our brains whirring away, didn't it?
It's so funny, this woman is so duplicitous and manipulative that nobody knows if she was ever pregnant at all, if she's still pregnant, if she,
I know.
I don't believe anything she says.
Well, even I saw some people online still being left in a bit confused, and I'm not completely surprised, actually, by the end of Thursday's episode, because it, reading between the lines, what I believe has happened was that she was indeed pregnant with Will's baby, or at least she thought there was a chance it could have been Will's, and she didn't want to risk it. Yeah. So last week, when she didn't appear on the programme, that's when she had her termination on the Monday, because we saw her the Friday before booking an appointment for Monday, which we never saw her going to. So she had her termination then, and unlike everyone else on Coronation Street, rather than just having a horrible medical procedure and then skipping out down the street like nothing's ever happened, she maybe actually took some time to recover from it for a week or so.
So I don't have any scenes, so I can actually agree.
Yeah, and now she's back. So she then used Maggie pushing her down onto the floor as an excuse to cover it up, which is quite clever, I don't know what she'd have done otherwise.
I don't know how clever it is, because I think that she probably dropped the charges. I think she told the police to get Maggie in trouble, but then dropped the charges because she may have known that it wouldn't have been possible to prove, or they would have been able to tell.
Well, yes, exactly.
That she didn't have a baby.
Yeah.
I don't want to think too much about it because it is quite unpleasant, and I know it's very upsetting for lots of people, but I'm fairly sure that they would have been able to know.
Yeah, I would have thought
Mind you, women's bodies are a mystery to medical science, as far as I can tell. Oh my God, what is this?
Well, they still
Ovaries?
could.
Woo.
They still could
those?
At some point, somehow in the future, find a way of getting somebody to check. Did she have a
there'll be
termination?
A record,
Did
but
she
I
have
don't
a
know
miscarriage?
how easy it is to access that. You'd have to have a very good reason.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I thought that was all quite
but having
exciting
a medical
stuff
procedure can't be seen as evidence of guilt, can it?
No, absolutely. But yeah, it's all coming together very nicely.
Well, there you go. Got that one.
I forgot what I was going to say about that one. It'll come to me when we talk about it later.
Coronation Street's Craig Harris return sealed.
What?
After 20 years in Bethany Platt twist from the Liverpool Echo.
Craig Harris to return in Bethany Platt twist.
I think you'll find I said Coronation Street Craig Harris's return sealed.
Right, so it's definitely going to happen, apparently, is it? It's sealed in inverted commas in this headline.
Yeah.
Ah, well. Okay, why on earth would people think that? Is Craig Harris actually Ethan, the mysterious boy on the phone that she was supposed to be having a date with this week? Is it something to do with her getting back in the dating game? Although she is actually a lot younger than Craig Harris, so that would be a bit... Yeah,
Craig Harris is not still a boy.
No, that's true. When I picture Craig Harris, it's like, yeah, he's about the same age as Bethany. But,
me too.
But no.
No, he's more like...
I mean, he's going to be in his 30s now, isn't he? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you that some of the answers to this are just someone said it on Facebook.
That's what it always is, though, isn't it?
So someone said it on Facebook.
Okay, yeah. What is it, then?
That Craig Harris should come back and be Bethany's boyfriend.
Was that literally it?
Yeah. Oh. Tell you what, there's nothing happening in Liverpool, is there?
That was a real low effort article from the Liverpool Echo there.
Okay, Coronation Street Carl's death sealed after absence and fans no culprit. I'll tell you what, hang on a minute, Michael.
Yeah.
I've just got something to do.
What is this?
Just hang on, I'll write the number in. He's going to pick up in a minute. Hello, is that Coronation Street press office? Can you stop telling people that things are sealed, please? Thank you very much. It's getting annoying now.
Oh, it's very nice of Coronation Street press office to be here on Good Friday, isn't it?
Still it's not even them that does it. They're like, we're not responsible for these people. They write anything they want.
So it's sealed that what?
Aren't you sick and tired of reading sealed this and sealed that? Because I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to ban everybody. I've just said to this on the phone just then, because we had to pause it. I've just told them they can't use sealed anymore because it's stupid.
Okay. So
it was Carl's death sealed, and fans know the culprit.
All that I can think then is, are people wondering whether his lengthy absence in recent weeks is because he's already dead? And maybe he's going to be a little bit more of a less recent corpse that Betsy discovers in a month's time.
Oh, he's green. Oh, he's all bloated. I don't know. Let me just double check something here, because this is literally just... Okay, right. I'm going to actually do something that the original article, which is from... Sorry, I'd be snoring. From Liverpool again. Liverpool Echo. They just use sealed and everything. Okay. They just copied verbatim somebody's comment from the Coronation Street subreddit. So I'm going to give this person credit. Their name is Petty Thief Lout.
Okay.
And so they just basically copied their entire theory.
What's the theory?
Debbie wins her appeal and gets out of prison. Summer's upset by this and has a run-in with her, but Ronnie and Kevin tell her it was Carl that was driving that night. Summer confronts Carl for killing Billy, but he tells her about what Theo did. She then confronts Theo, who gets aggressive and threatening, and she whacks him over the head, either in self-defence or in a rage. He drops to the ground. She runs away, thinking she's killed him. Theo then comes along, finds Carl, attacks him, accidentally kills him. This had better be
a theory and not just some rampant spoilers that we're dropping on the podcast, Gemma. Sounds like it could happen.
Maybe Theo then tries to frame Summer for killing Carl because she has a motive.
I don't think that Summer's going to be killing anybody. I don't think she's got it in her.
That is such a really specific theory to have stolen from Reddit to copy without even crediting into a newspaper, but okay.
If it's saying what's going to happen about Theo, does it make it a theory?
Yeah.
No, I don't like that. I'm not to be honest, if Carl never came back, I wouldn't be bothered whatsoever. But we know he will.
Can I have my phone?
But yes, Summer's not going to be in a particularly happy mood when Debbie does
I want my phone plug.
Win her appeal on
Can
Sunday?
I have my plug?
Yes, I will get you your phone plug.
No, but you look like you don't know what you're doing.
Here it is. Here is a plug for your phone.
Thank you.
Okay. This is a really shoddy episode that we're running so far.
Do you think people love us for our professionalism and polished nature? Because they don't.
No, and definitely not how zoomed in or out our cameras are during the video content that we produce.
They're only here to listen to us argue.
Okay, go on.
Coronation Street fans work out. Family future for Connor Swains amid Betsy Clue from the Manchester Evening News.
A Betsy Clue?
Yeah, Betsy Clue.
Family future?
Betsy Clue, I used to love that when I was a kid. Did you watch that?
No. Are people suggesting that the baby is going to stay with them?
Yeah.
What's the Betsy Clue, though? Is it she's learning how to change nappies or something?
Sydney Martin, this came from. Betsy Clue.
Mm.
Sydney Martin has dyed her hair brown.
Yeah.
And she took a picture of herself in her dressing room, and I'm just going to phone up the Coronation Street press office and suggest no more dressing room selfies because they keep giving away spoilers.
Blocked your number, Gemma.
Hello.
Was there a spoiler in the best dressing room photo? Was it an Amy Cudden-like spoiler?
Yeah, there was just a baby there. The baby is moved into Sydney Martin's dressing room. She's got her own...
Oh, so they could...
No, it's a joke.
What is
there
it?
was a baby bottle.
Ooh.
What people said was a baby bottle on her dressing room table. But I'm going to say, if it's a prop, she wouldn't have it in her dressing room.
No, so that either means that Sydney Martin has got a secret baby herself, or maybe she prefers to drink from a baby bottle.
We should all try it for a week.
She likes to have a suckle of a teat when she's having her tea in the morning.
I imagine her holding it up in the air like a little hamster.
Okay, fine.
Everyone also thinks she's going to get pregnant.
Do they?
The character of Betsy.
I hope not. That could happen. Any more?
The real reason Helen Flanagan hasn't returned to Coronation Street as Rosie Webster from Entertainment Daily.
She's too intimidated because she thinks that I might try and get an interview with her through that way.
Yeah.
No, why is it?
She's got their number.
What is it?
It's because they haven't asked her.
Really?
She said they haven't asked me. She said that. If you ask her, she'll say that.
Okay. Fine. Why haven't they asked you, Helen?
If somebody, yeah, what else is she supposed to say? Well, they haven't asked me. It's not like I can just go in and trick them into thinking I work there.
I think she could. Maybe she could go in on a star tour or something. Maybe disguise her, put a hat on and some glasses, and then just hide out.
A distinctive
Maybe,
voice.
yeah, could be. She could vault over the barrier into the garage, hide underneath one of the cars there, and the next time that Kev's filming there, she's like, "Hello, Dad, it's me." Just do a bit of an ad-lib.
And I'd be like, "Oh, you're not in the script." She's like, "Oh, they're just going to add it in a minute."
Just speaking of Kevin, what do we think about his new look?
I don't comment on people's looks.
No beard.
No
beard today, everybody.
Just like Jack.
Also no beard. What? Nice. Yeah, I thought that...
I don't comment on people's faces.
It was a surprise when he rocked up at the prison today with no facial stubble, but I would say he was looking very kind of happy and healthy. So it's all good with me.
Are you going to grow a beard one day? Because I really desperately want you to.
No, I'm not going to grow a beard. Every now and then, every few years, Gemma's just like, just grow a beard, Michael.
You want me to dye my hair blonde and I want you to grow a beard. I think by the time we're old, we'll both get our wish because grey and blonde is very similar.
And then I just won't be bothered to have a shave. Oh, God, this is a long clickbait. You didn't have to go with them all, you know.
Shh. I worked on Coronation Street for 15 years and this is why I'll never return.
Oh, I saw this one, but I don't remember what it was. I've just completely gone out of my head. Is this an actor?
Yes.
Somebody who worked on here for 15 years. Was it Julie Hesmondhalgh? I won't return because my character's dead.
It's along those lines.
Is it?
It's not Julie Hesmondhalgh.
Oh, who is it?
It's Stephen Arnold.
Oh, he's also dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why he said his character, I'm not coming back, so my character's dead.
Can you imagine Ashley Peacock haunting the street?
Oh, I'm so spooky.
Maxime.
Where's the bench? I want to sit on it.
Okay, well, yeah, not too bad clickbait this week. Not all related to stuff that was going on the screen though. So
sorry.
Thank you, Jonathan, for sending that in. I suppose we better actually get on and talk about what happened. We have got 5 stories, as I said earlier. We have got the Meg's not preggers story anymore, Gemma.
Oh,
slight change in that.
Was she ever?
And I've also stuck the Tim bits in there, which back in the day.
Bits.
Oh, the Tim bits. Oh, we called it Once Upon a Tim, didn't we? Because it was all about his childhood. That did get a little bit of a mention earlier on this week. We also
get a shout out to my childhood abuse.
I'm starting to realise that maybe our abuse. Sally was so smug
Sally was
about
so
this. She was
inappropriately triumphant.
I know.
I told you were abused.
I was right, Tim.
Well done, Sally. Let's have a bit of perspective.
Give you all a salmon sandwich to celebrate.
Well, she didn't get that, did she?
No, she didn't. There was the Doom and Groom story as well this week, which I've kind of put all together in the morning suit story as well. So anything that was Todd or Theo or George are bundled together because they were somewhat related. The Twisted Sister story returned with old Shona and Bethany, who wasn't the case but seems to have lost the scent of Jodie's sneakiness after today's episode. Then we had a bit more of Mal, and I've lost track of what we're calling this as well. Malintentions, I guess it can be this week, because he did do a bit of a stare from beside the cabin, didn't he, earlier on this week? And we also had a bit more of the Mama in the Slammer storyline with lovely Webby Debster, who has got an appeal coming up. Let's hope that it all goes well for her. Let's all hope it goes well, and that she also smuggles Lou out of prison, because I really loved Lou being back.
Let's be fair though, if anyone's going to sneak in someone else's pocket, it's not going to be Lou sneaking in Deborah's
No, you're
pocket,
right. It's going to be the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh well, I'll have to rethink that theory then. I just don't want them to get rid of Lou. I don't want Debbie to go, and then they'll be flushing Lou away, and we'll never see her again.
And she's got skills now; she can do woodwork.
I know. She's just great. She's just
prison sounds
bloody
brilliant,
great.
doesn't it? They got yoga.
Who else can go to prison now and be Lou's cellmate? I don't know. I want to see the adventures of Lou and Becky. Megan, yes, or Maggie could be. Any of them. Literally, just have her be there as the little helpful friend.
Hijinks would ensue if Megan went to prison.
Do you reckon
she's
not?
going to be in the same section as Becky.
Having people call in through the wall.
The protected people
right.
section.
Okay. as this is a very sensitive story,
well,
Gemma,
I just
and
thought
you know
I'm
what
going
I'm
to get in trouble for making a silly joke earlier.
No, it's fine. I didn't even know you did. I didn't even register, darling. Do you want to do the Meghan storyline? The high story of the week, I would say.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What have they been getting up to this week? Started Sunday.
Selling oysters in the Rovers, like some kind of Molly Malone or whatever.
Luckily that didn't go anywhere. It didn't spin into a little side story about people having food poisoning from uncooked shellfish or... I mean, last time we had the oysters on the street, that was when Sam cut his hand. Do you remember when he was trying to shuck them for hope, maybe? I don't remember. But, yeah, weird.
Such a weird, yeah.
I'm not an
Very
oyster
trendy.
eater myself, but I can't imagine that even if I was, I would pick them at the pub.
I wouldn't pick them at that pub. Now, I know that it's becoming more fashionable now.
Is it really?
Oh, God, yeah. There's a lady on YouTube who's like the oyster girl or whatever, and she goes around and eats oysters.
Oyster girl.
She is. She like eats hundreds and hundreds of oysters. She's incredibly posh.
Oh, right.
And she goes, oh, hello, I'm going to have oysters now, or whatever.
Is it like, was Ollie trying to make oysters a Manchester thing? Because London have got their jelly deals.
No,
and they
London's
say, what
already
other
got-
weird seafood can we...
London's already got oysters.
I suppose it does, doesn't it? It's got a monopoly
It's
on
got
everything.
bankers, so they've got oysters.
Yeah, go on then. Continue. That was just the little entree to this week's story, wasn't it? That luckily didn't turn into a main course.
So she's like, I can't believe you're buggering around with these oysters. We've got other things to worry about. And Ollie says, maybe Amy can give us some clues about what Daniel thinks about this. And Maggie's not very happy about Amy either. That never goes anywhere either.
Well, it's all to do with the fact that Amy and Ollie are kind of related, because she was saying she's just a friend, is she? She's not going to do anything more than that.
That's why they brought that up.
Yeah.
Can I look? I know I don't talk about the way people look, but wardrobe is a different matter, okay? Because the characters don't pick it. I mean, the actors don't pick it, and it's not necessarily, What the hell was Ollie wearing this week?
I don't know. What was
he was wearing a weird little, like, a gilet. What are you doing?
I didn't notice that whatsoever.
A little, what they called, waistcoat. He's wearing a weird waistcoat. He looks so strange.
If you could dress Ollie Driscoll, Gemma, what would you have him in?
Box.
Box?
What,
just over his head?
It's not. I wouldn't let
Poke oysters through every now and then.
I wouldn't let him suffocate in there. I'd just say, look, we don't, just sit there.
Just sit there inside this box. You can come out when it's time for you.
I promise we'll get you in a
We'll
minute.
knock on the side when it's your scene. Yeah, see you in 3 months. Oh dear me.
Poor old Ollie.
Poor old Ollie.
Oh.
He
doesn't do himself any favours,
isn't
does he?
Well, yeah, I don't think we saw much of him this week, thankfully. So.
Well, Will's saying he's off to he's making a joke. I'm off to the Hilton with Meghan.
He still hasn't seen her.
He hasn't seen her at this point, and he keeps trying to message her, and he can't get in touch with her.
Yeah.
On this secret phone that nobody's found yet, even though they're all desperately worried about him, and they still haven't found it. So Ollie and Amy meet at the cafe. She's not particularly helpful about Daniel and Meghan. But she's like, I went through... Everyone on this show is like, I went through something like this.
I've had trauma.
I've had a storyline too, and I can tell you that it'll take a while to open up. And sometimes we won't even have a scene about it, to be honest with you.
No.
You might never even say anything about it. You might just be, next month, I tell you, you've forgotten this would have ever happened.
Yeah, and then they'll probably drop it in a year or in a half's time, and then we'll go, oh yeah.
And we're like, oh, you remember that one?
Forgot that, yeah.
Ollie sits with Will in the pub later, and he says, you need to stop thinking about Meghan and put yourself first. But then Maggie comes in moaning about oysters again, because George has ordered them, because he's obviously got a death wish at this point with his court case coming up. And at that point, the mood is gone. There's a few times during this week where that people are almost getting Will to open up to them, but somebody else walks in.
It's funny because watching those scenes, I know what you mean. I
He
never
needs to
felt
have his own
that Will
bedroom.
was close to opening
No, I
up.
know.
But the person who thought
Yes.
that they were the ones to unlock his special box and get him to blurt all about what's happened are really insistent that they were
I was just about to crack the case, Grandma.
Yeah. If you hadn't walked in. But yeah.
No.
So, because later on in the week, it's Maggie, innit?
Yeah. So Monday, this is when Tim's experience with Trisha starts to be mentioned again, because Steve says to Tim, talk to Will about, you went through it with Trisha, and Tim's like, why did you neck in? It's nothing to do with you.
Not even slightly related
even
to what Will has been apparently going through.
Will is still trying to contact Megan, and he hides his phone when Ben walks in, and Ben's trying to get him to open up, but Will's like, no, I've got to go to school because it's Easter holidays. I'm going to make a bonnet.
Was it?
I've only got till the weekend for my bonnet.
Clearly not the Easter holidays in Manchester this week like it has been here. And that because Coronation Street's usually pretty good with those things, isn't he? Isn't he?
Maybe he's got to do extra lessons because he's skived off.
Maybe. Could be, couldn't it?
Well, he runs off to school. And then...
That would have been a good way, because he wasn't actually going to. He didn't do much schooling this week, did he? He was mostly hanging around by Megan. And imagine if the whole plan had been... tumbled down after he said, I was at school today, and Ben's like, well, school's not even in this week. You're giving yourself away there, son.
It does kind of, the school was open because they phoned him up, didn't they?
Yes.
Right, so he rushes off. He gets a message from Megan saying she's been missing him. So she's still alive, she's not dead. So Tim tells Sally what Steve had said earlier about him and Trisha. And he's like, it's nothing like it at all. Ben overhears this and says, I'm really sorry to hear you went through the same thing. Megan took advantage of my son and made decisions for him. He was too young to make himself.
I felt like...
Go on.
No,
go on.
I just was going to say, I felt like really bad for Ben this week. And I know I'm the world's biggest Ben sympathiser. But he's really going through a horrible time, isn't he? Like, just the guilt that he's feeling. And I'm glad they're kind of showing all that with him, because he's being angry, but he's also being blaming himself, and it's not that isn't always the case, and it's not. I mean, it's not Ben's fault, is it?
No.
It's not Will's fault, but as Ben the father, I think it's very natural that they have had him blaming himself.
Part of processing what's happened is thinking about your role, but or lack of. As
a character who can often be quite fiery and volatile, it's been nicer to see that.
Quite subdued, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He's Well, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
So, this kind of makes Tim think, and he looks over, and again, this reminds me of, I said this last week, I think, of the scene where Martin and Gail go to confront Bethany's dad.
The playground.
Yeah, Bethany's dad, Neil, who had slept with Sarah when they were both kids, and sees him in the playground kicking his football, and they're like, he's just a kid, he's just a little boy. And so Sally and Tim are looking across at Will, he's sitting there eating crisps, and it does kind of hit Tim that he wasn't as mature as he thought he was. And I said this before when we were talking about it. There will be a point when he realises that grown-up person in his head that everybody thinks they are when they're that age didn't really exist.
Well, Tim wasn't even Will's age. He wasn't even 16 when he and Trisha had their thing, was he?
He was abused at a much younger age.
Yeah, so...
So he was 14?
I still... We all knew that this scene was going to come and Tim was going to have this revelation. And it was kind of about as clunky as I expected it to be. I wouldn't say that there was anything that made Tim have that deserved penny drop, but he just decides, doesn't he? And he kind of clicks over to saying, "Oh yes, maybe."
I get that it's a really tempting story to tell, and it might make some people think about their own experiences and stuff. But I really do. I'm not sure, and I'm open to being having this explained to me, whether it really truly is a good idea to tell somebody to recontextualize their experience to see it as abuse if they didn't. I genuinely do not know if it is more harmful than it is a good thing.
Well, is it going to maybe lead Tim going into a dark place of depression? I don't know.
The question is it always repressed in his mind that it was traumatic, or is it better to just not ever talk about it?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think young Tim or any age Tim between then and now has considered it a traumatic experience.
But you can't make that excuse for that's going to be latched onto by predators who would say, you know, it was fine, so it's fine. You know, some people don't mind, so you can't ever have that. You know, you can't ever say that. But it's just really. I find it quite confusing because I'm sure that people have repressed memories that affect them, but I don't think Tim does.
It's not the same as, oh, when I was 14, I found a dead body and then I suppressed it and I've only just realised and that's brought back a load of trauma. It's not really, like that, is it?
It's really difficult to talk about this without excusing, like,
I know.
Seem like you're excusing that behaviour, which clearly is not excusable at all. And it's totally right what Tim was saying about when you look at these kids, like when you're that age, you feel like you're grown up, and then you look at pictures of yourself, you're like, I was just a little baby. Like, Will's just a little baby eating crisps on a sofa.
I mean, Tim was...
It's horrible what Megan did.
Tim was only, like, a bit older than Sam when it happened.
Crazy.
And I think if you put Sam into the context of what happened, then it suddenly does... If it hadn't done already...
Makes you feel even more sick.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when... I've seen a lot of people saying online, I think this story would have worked better if Sam had been Megan's victim rather than Will, because number one, we know him, and number two, he's younger.
It's a really tricky one. I don't think that Sam would have been so easily coerced. I think he would have known, like when he found out, or when he first suspected that it was wrong, he was like, "You're having an inappropriate sexual relationship with Mrs. Walsh," and maybe that would
have taken a lot longer for me to be convinced. Like this story would have had to have gone on. The thing about it is, we didn't see the process of the grooming, did we?
No.
So we don't know how long this took or how it even happened, and that's probably for the best, honestly.
And it makes you wonder, like, you know, if. I don't know what goes on inside the minds of people like Megan, but did she specifically target Will, or did she see that he maybe fancied her first and then latched on to that? Because she wouldn't have seen Sam fancying her, would she? Like,
it's difficult.
So I don't think it would have worked anyway with her in a relationship with Sam, because there'd have been nothing for her to latch on with, and I think she probably would have thought, well, with anybody, because it's, you know, if there's any chance that somebody that you, I guess, make a pass at or whatever is going to report you to the head teacher, the police or whatever, then you don't take the risk.
But this is why risk. This is how they do it, though. They do it in really subtle ways and with plausible deniability, like make a joke. Make a joke, like,
see how they respond,
joke, and then see if they laugh, or like say, oh, you know, Mrs. Smith, Miss maths teacher, she's pretty, isn't she? And see, you know, all those like really, and then if anyone hears you or they report you, it's like, what, you know, I didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah,
and then you push the boundaries and push and push and push until you've got what you want.
I just don't see Sam. Because, you know, the way he is, he's a little bit different, isn't he? Bless him. I don't see him falling for that. But maybe if it had been with a character like, I don't know, somebody like Liam or Jake even, maybe. And then maybe Jake's still a little bit more on the young side. I don't know how old Jake is. He never bloody in it. Then maybe it would have been more likely. But then we know, especially with Jake, we know him so little as a character. I don't know. Maybe Sam's head could have been turned by a teacher who was into chess. Yeah, like you go along to a chess club and there's a lovely chess teacher. I don't know, but
I don't know either. I think this storyline is very difficult to talk about without saying things that people might take the wrong way.
No, I know.
And I'm very conscious of that, because I know that people are not charitable when it comes to interpreting what you say. They always like to take the most outrageous thing that you haven't actually said and pretend that it's what you meant. And
Some people do.
Well, yeah.
So, although I think that had the story involved a character that we'd known and cared about a little bit more, we would have felt more sympathy for the victim in it. I think that the tides are turning there now, and I think that people are feeling more sorry for Will now,
because we don't know Will as anyone but somebody who's a victim of Megan. Like, everything, the way he acts and what he says and his reactions and his anger and stuff, it's all a product of her grooming and abuse.
But
we don't know what he's like.
No.
Like when he was with Susie the other week, he was really sweet.
You could also kind of argue that not knowing Will has added a little extra mystery element, a little bit of a don't
He's
exactly
kind of unknowable, isn't he?
which in some ways might benefit the story. Because you can't say, this is how he's going to act, this is what he's going to do, because I don't know him, or this is how it started, and maybe there was a clue back, because we didn't see how it started.
No. We just know he's hot-headed like his dad. That's about it.
But I I was 100% against. No, I wouldn't say I was completely against the story. I was very, very reluctant to get into the story when it first started, and it just felt a little bit, this is a little bit grubby, I sometimes use that term to describe Coronation Street stories that are just like but I'm not gonna lie, as grubby as it is, these past few weeks that have had a focus on it, it's been absolutely fantastically gripping, and I've loved it.
Yeah, it's really. This is why I didn't really like this story, because even saying that makes you sound like a ghoul. But it's a television show. It's an entertainment. It's a soap.
Yeah, I would say 100% Coronation Street has achieved its aim of hooking me in, gripping me in, making me kind of theorise and wonder and excited for the next episode this week and 2 weeks ago. And it's a little bit of a shame, I suppose, that it's been, we haven't seen Toya, Leanne or Sam this week, but maybe it would have felt a little bit overstuffed. And
maybe it's because they know the school's not on.
Maybe they do. They've gone off holiday somewhere. But it has been an opportunity to really get under the skin of the Driscolls, and that's what you kind of want. If there's a new family, you want to be able to know what makes them tick.
But this is what we said about criticising it when it first started, going, why introduce a family with this dark secret? It's more difficult to get to know them. Now you're saying the opposite.
I know, I'm fickle. I'm very fickle. And I still would say that Eva has been a little bit on the neglected side in terms of characters here, but
I'm missing a conversation just between Eva and Ben. I'm sure they've spoken about it, but just like how could I not have seen this? I can't believe I didn't protect. They've had the odd comment.
We had it at the end of today's episode, didn't we? When he was being a bit maudlin in the pub, and she comes and gives him a hug. Yeah. But you're right; it doesn't kind of go in depth.
But it feels like it's more. Those things feel more like I am progressing the story here. I'm letting you know. I might kill Megan on the 23rd of April.
Or
it's not like a character moment, is it? It's not like an emotional connection.
No, and it's interesting how Ben, his guilt about the whole situation and how upset he feels for Will is very clear and plain for all to see, but we don't really know. We can only assume really about how Eva feels about it.
Eva's really keeping out of it, which is, I don't know.
She's knocked off at Megan and wants to be her, see her sent down and brought into the police station and have the book thrown at her and all that. But she's kind of hiding those emotions, or just not appearing at a time when she might show them, I suppose.
Do you think she's kind of like, I'm just a stepmother, I don't really know this boy that well, it's not my place. Like, it must be really difficult to be a step parent. And not know where the line is. But
she's been with Ben for long enough, however long that is.
Susie is, what, 6? 5?
Oh, I've lost track. Susie is, 6. No, she's maybe older than that. When did Aiden die? It was before the pandemic, so she's maybe 7 or 8 now.
But that's the maximum amount of time they could possibly have been together, because Susie was a baby when she left the show.
I would say that Eva has been with Ben long enough to have developed a motherly, maternal instinct towards Will and an affection towards him.
Yeah,
even though there's the spectre of Mel, of course.
I'm not saying that she shouldn't have that feeling. I'm just saying that some people in relationships with families who are blended families, they have a different role. They just are emotionally more distant.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't feel like the sort of person that Eva is. I think she would be a mother hen to everybody.
Although, we are maybe forgetting, 2 weeks ago when she was the one that was like, I don't believe a flaming word she's saying.
But that's more to do with Megan than Will.
Yes, I guess so.
I just think they haven't. I just think that there's not enough time to do everything, and they've decided to not really explore Eva and Will's relationship because they can't get anything out of it.
Yeah, I would say that they've backed the right characters to focus on.
Yes.
Even though I would always love to see more Eva and love to see more Eva with the Battersby sisters, I think it's more important that they focus on what's going on in Ben and Maggie's head and lives at the moment.
You're fleshing those characters out because you don't know anything about them. So you're learning about what they care about and how they react to things through this storyline, whereas Eva, you don't need that.
And well, that's partly it with Maggie, but it's also she's the one who's moving the plot forward and being a bit sneaky and underhand and devious, and she's got secrets and skeletons in her closet, hasn't she?
Someone's got to do the plot.
That was, I can't remember what day it was. Was it Monday? Was it Wednesday when she goes around and as it out with Meg? That's why we've very much digressed. When we started talking about Sally and Tim.
And Trisha. And he says, I just used to be... I used to think it was okay, but maybe it's not. And Sally's like, yes! I win again!
She says she's proud of Tim, but I think it was real. We all know
herself. So Ben gets Will in the back later and says, do you want to talk? It's not your fault, it's Megan's. And Will says, no, I'm not upset about anything. It's just I'm mad at myself for having a crush on her and causing all of this. And then Ben starts shouting at him and calling him an idiot for defending her.
Yeah, even though that's what Maggie was doing in today's episode, wasn't it?
But it must be so frustrating because you're like, well, you are the only person who can do anything about this terrible thing that's happened to you, and you refuse. So
he wants the truth to come out so that
Ben does.
They don't know 100%, do they? But when you suspect something so strongly, exactly, it's going to eat away at you. And I think what Ben would love more than anything else is for there to be cast iron proof that it didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But, he can't get that. It's like a scab you're picking at, isn't it? You don't want the blood to gush out, but at least it's off and away. And I don't know whether that's a particularly pleasant analogy, but he's like, I don't want to be right, but I'm right, aren't I? And it feeds into this guilt that he's feeling about himself, and maybe it's a little bit of self-flagellation as well. Like if it turns out that what my worst fears are true, then I'm right in hating myself for it, and it gives me more ammo to hate myself.
Ben as a parent?
Ben, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, because sometimes these depressing, miserable, self-hate feelings just compound themselves, don't they?
Back at home...
And he wants Megan sent down. That's ultimately what he's trying to get out of it, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, there's... He wants to know it so that he can have... He wants the evidence so that she can be punished, even though it means that his worst fears and suspicions are true. It's like there's no good outcome out of this, really, is there? Apart from it's all the big misunderstanding. But
then you've ruined someone's life.
Yes, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, actually, because Megan... You've broken up a couple and potentially could blame the situation on Megan losing her baby. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, unless she wasn't pregnant at all, there was a baby, and now the baby is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Because of the situation.
Well, there's also, like, you'd say, what's it done to the Ben and Will relationship? And I think that if it all turned out that it was a massive misunderstanding, is Ben ever going to be trusted by Will again?
Yeah, horrible. How do you even begin to mend that relationship if you don't know the truth? Yeah,
but then if the truth is the truth, then that's just going to make Will hate Ben even more for destroying, because he is completely still in love with her, isn't he? In his head, he's in a relationship with her. But, you'd think that eventually, maybe with the help of Tim, he'd come to realise that he was taken advantage of. And I think that's the sort of thing that I would hope, not come easily. Like, what I don't want at the end of this storyline is for Will to say, you know what? I actually was taken advantage of, and I never loved her at all, and she was just a nasty...
It's just this story. There can't be an ending that is like, oh, abuse is wrong. Because we all know that. We all went into it knowing that. It's kind of silly and superfluous. That can't be the story.
Will kind of needs to end this story still thinking, no, she was taken away from me, at least for now.
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to realise, but I don't know. It's got the potential to be a bit too twee, and
I suppose he's less likely to end it that way if Megan's
going to come out with some villainous speech.
Yeah,
or she's going to run off with another boy.
The thing is, we find out later this week, don't we, that she's massively lied to him. She's accused, or she's blaming his grandma for the death of the child, and maybe, you know, let's say Will kills Maggie in the flash forward, and then he finds out that none of that was true. That could be enough to break it off.
Kill Megan too.
Although, is that still going to make him automatically think, you know, I hate Megan now? You know what? I never really loved her. It was just a silly schoolboy crush. I don't know. I'm interested to see where it carries on. But Corrie's not always good at showing long-term consequences of things. What could very well happen here is that something happens on the 23rd of April, and then we don't see the Driscolls again for months because they've had a bit of a busy quarter.
Oh, it's a good job that we're over that now. Oysters, anyone?
I wonder, you know, who knows what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks, or where we'll be looking, you know, the 22nd of April. But if Megan were killed and she's still my number one pick, at the moment, you know, what would Will do then? She'd be sanctified then, wouldn't she, in his mind? My beautiful, beloved Megan, who's now been, you know, bumped off, potentially by my grandmother. I don't know. That's still what I'm thinking. And is it, in that situation, would he ever be able to realise, no, she was just a predator?
She like Princess Diana. So blonde and beautiful.
I think the fact that she's lied to him now is going to be part of the realisation process with him, I suppose. It's going to come out, isn't it? It's going to come out.
I'm surprised that there's no Catholic guilt about this baby from anybody.
I mean, Maggie's probably the only one.
But yeah, Maggie is clearly Catholic, or
at least had a very strict,
I thought she was Catholic, but okay, she's religious.
She's had religious upbringing, but I know, because we don't have Sunday episodes of Coronation Street, we can't say whether she's a regular attendee at Mass.
No, that's true. Well, I mean, the comments that she said about Jim McDonald being on the other side, if he was if he was in the British Army and he was stationed in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, he would have been representing the Protestant powers that be and oppressing the Catholic. You know, it's very complicated. It's a lot more complicated than that. But the inference I got from her comment was that she is Catholic and he is Protestant.
Yeah, I mean, we
had a very long conversation with somebody who lives in Northern Ireland about being in a mixed family, and a mixed family in Northern Ireland means my mum was Catholic and my dad was Protestant, and it's a massive deal, and it's such a huge deal. The whole family had to move. They couldn't live there. It's not like it was not just a small thing.
No.
So if she is Catholic, that guilt of the baby, you know, being killed or dying because of her.
We haven't seen a lot of that, have we? Because I would say that at the moment she does still feel responsible for it, because the story that she's heard.
But she's like, oh, it's only Daniel's baby. I don't care.
But she knows it's not Daniel's baby. She thinks
no, it's true.
So
I don't know.
Maybe they just thought bitch.
Maybe they just thought it's too much to throw into one story. We don't need to have that element of it in. But I would have thought that there would have been a bit of quiet muttering.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more of a
big day's coming up.
I know, that's true. We have seen a little bit more of a subdued Maggie this week. Not completely and not thoroughly, but she's not been wall to wall camp, and you know, she's not outrageous, is she? But you know, over doing it.
Maybe she's killed more than Alan. Maybe she's like, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean...
Babies, I'll kill a load of babies. They're easy.
I don't know. Right, come on, we must continue. It's good that the story...
Get in a fight with the babies, you win every time.
It's good that the stories are eliciting so much conversation and
discussion. I don't know.
No, it's good. That's what Corrie wants.
No, I don't like talking about any of this because my sense of humour is too bad.
No, we're doing a fine job.
And also, I like very ignorant questions I've asked. I understand that, but that is literally because I do not know. That is what ignorance is. I don't know the answer. I am asking because I assume I'm not the only person who doesn't know. And if somebody does know the answer, it would be interesting. But I would imagine there is no consensus. On the other hand,
answers on a postcard.
Yeah, you can send them in to ITV at Trafford Wall. Right, Will and Megan meet
if they put CO Conversation Street, do you think it'll get to us?
Oh yeah, they'll just hand us a bag. Do that, see what happens. That would be
great.
If
you do a podcast for like maybe 15 years, do you get a little nook in the pigeonhole or something? I mean, there's clearly going to be one free soon because whoever gets bumped off in the murder mystery. We can have that. I hear that they'd earmarked that for Stephen Arnold and Helen Flanagan, but then they realised, they're not coming back. Well, Gemma and Michael can have it. It's fine.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Where were we?
We need to get a PO box. I said we should get a PO box.
We said like for the last decade we need to get a PO box.
They're a lot more expensive than they really should be.
Yes.
Basically, just don't want people turning up at the house.
Right, come on. Where on earth were we?
Well, I didn't say that Tim texted Trisha, but she just doesn't ever reply. He's like, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you about what happened back in the day, and she like goes to answer, and then she doesn't say anything, and she never says anything.
Yes. I think all we find out after then, maybe on Wednesday, was that she's deleted her social media, hasn't she?
She's off social meds.
Yes. I mean, maybe it's just that she's realised that Elon Musk is a.
I'm not going to give him any money.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. Got to get our blue tick, haven't we?
Wow.
Right. Anyway, what
Unfortunately, happened? It's unnecessary.
Will and Megan have a little villains alley meetup at the end of the episode, don't we? First time we've seen her in a week and a half.
I was just trying to give you some space. I can't cope with this. Everyone's mad. Should we tell the truth? No, you idiot. Stay strong. I'm moving into a flat in the precinct. Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much... How many flats is it, like 5 up there now?
No, there's more than that because there's double-sided, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm just saying ones that have got frontages.
There's 4 there, I think. And I think that they're almost all full of...
Yeah, so we've got Sean and Dylan live in one. Megan now lives in one. Abby still living in one?
I don't know, but who else lived there? Somebody else lived there.
I don't remember.
It reminds me of when you buy one of those bee hotels... and you put it in your garden, and you can only tell that anything's in there because they kind of put a door on the front of it. Like, don't look in here, I'm having a sleep. That's kind of like Coronation Street characters, yeah. Well, you said I'm not allowed to talk about a Pocopia and making habitats.
There you go.
So she's like, you still want me and the baby? One day, our family will accept this. Your family will accept this. They'll be desperate to meet your grandchild.
What does Megan's family think of all this? At this point,
she's clearly... BSing him, right? Because she knows there's no way, right? Number one, everyone suspects she's already terminated this child. If her appointment was on Monday
last week.
Yeah, she would have already had this termination, so there is no baby. But
yeah, you're right, actually.
Number 2, she would never have this baby if it was his baby, and then tell them it's his baby, because that is like, like Ben keeps saying, that baby's evidence.
So what is she trying to get out of him at this stage?
She's manipulating him to try to keep him quiet. I think she's going to string him along now because the heat's on them. And if she rejects him or they break up, she can't control him anymore and she doesn't know what he's going to say. So she needs to keep together with him for as long as people are investigating them. And once it all blows over, then she'll move on to something else. Get rid of him.
Yeah, she can't terminate him quite so easily, can she?
No, there was a film about that where an annoying schoolboy tried to kill by a robot.
What was that?
Terminator. Terminator 2.
I mean... Yeah,
so she's lying.
Maybe that would make Megan a bit more of a likeable character.
What, she was a female Terminator?
Yeah, who killed Will.
They did that movie.
Oh yeah, Terminator 3. Maybe the audience would enjoy her more if she ended up killing Will.
Does she have to have a German accent?
Why?
Because it was... Have you seen Terminator?
Yes, but he's Austrian.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, all right, here we go.
Thank you very much. I think Carl Webster would have something to say about that little slip-up.
I made that mistake about Hitler once as well.
Anyway.
Idiot.
Anyway. So she is definitely manipulating him, keeping him sweet. I do wonder what her long-term plan had been. Like, she knows at this point that she hasn't got a baby anymore. She knows that not going to be too long until she's maybe starting to show.
She might just buy one of those baby bumps.
Oh, yeah. Maybe she could borrow it off Millie.
Yeah. Maybe she probably sold it off Vinted.
She would have just... I guess she was just going to tell Will, I've had an abortion, or,
No, she'll say she lost it.
Not an abortion. I don't mean that. I mean,
I believe she was always going to say that she lost the baby because of stress or something.
Yeah, your family hounding me because of our love has made me lose the baby, and that may well have made Will say, it's all my family's fault that the baby's dead. Right, I will move away from you.
I'm going to kill my nan.
But I don't. She kind of gives a look at one point this week, like you said, that she doesn't really have any intention to commit long term with him.
Of course she doesn't.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't understand them inside the mind of one of these people.
I mean, you can't understand the mind of a woman, let alone a groomer like Megan.
Okay, anyway, Wednesday, Gemma.
She's so confusing. On Wednesday, Will heads off to school. Maggie listens to Ben talking about the fact that Will was at a mate's last night, and they all believe it.
Yeah, but Ben's... Although he's, fairly insistent that this is the truth, we've
got no choice. We've got to believe, what can we do?
Do you think there's a part of him still at this stage that's saying, but what if it's all a big misunderstanding?
I'm sorry, but
if I 100% believed...
would not be leaving the house if that happened to him. If I knew that this woman was still hanging around, and I believed that they were in a relationship together, and I knew, what it's like when you're young and you're in love and you're obsessed with the other person, you would never leave them alone. Why would you let him stay at a mate's house? What mate? Have you spoken to his parents? This mate? But you haven't, because this mate doesn't exist.
Yeah. So
why haven't you looked into this at all? It's clearly just a throwaway line. But it really does make Ben look like a terrible parent. Is
he just being blissfully ignorant at this point and just kind of hoping? And if I don't investigate it too much, then I can't be right.
Well, no, he's like, is he kind of trying to be a bit more of a chill, laid back parent? Like, if I just tell him I believe him and let him do what he wants, he'll be more likely to tell me the truth. Because that ain't gonna cut it. You can't let your kid go off unsupervised.
But equally, how much control does Ben have over Will? Could he really stop him leaving the pub?
No,
I'm going to say no.
Not really, but you can't... You just let him sit there and lie to your face and say, I was at my mate's house. And you're like, okay, I've got no choice but to believe you.
But
he
wants to try and maintain some kind of...
I know what you're
pleasant
saying.
relationship with his son, some kind of amiability there.
I'm sorry, but he wouldn't be allowed out.
I mean, I'm sure that you'd stop him. He does come across as the type of father who maybe a couple of years ago absolutely would have been like, "You're not going out, son." I don't know. Well, because he's feels like he's been quite a strict parent.
No, I don't. To me, it feels like he's the kind of dad who is really like, boys do whatever they want, but a girl is not going out after 9.
He's like, I let that Ollie do what he wanted, and he came up wanting to...
He's got a waistcoat.
He's got an obsession with truffle oil oysters and waistcoats. Like, maybe that's why you should say, Will, you're not going out. I don't want you to turn into... You do want to grow up like your brother Ollie. Come on, do you? No, you stay at home and play computer games like a normal 16-year-old.
He's sitting there with a box on his head. Should have just given him Pocopia and he'd never leave the house again. Maggie goes to the cafe and she sees Alia and Adam, who are plotting their evil legal schemes.
She calls them Monsters Inc.
because she's never seen the film.
Well, I mean, she does like to drop a reference, doesn't she, Maggie? What was that song that she never fall in love with? No.
Fall in love with someone you shouldn't fall in love with.
That's a song, you know.
I hate it.
I don't really know why she mentioned that
It's like the writer thought everyone's going to say that's a song, so I just put that in. That's a song, but in the moment, in the heat of the moment, you wouldn't really go.
So scene, sorry.
Should we just listen to that song? It's a banger.
Yeah.
It was on the Shrek soundtrack.
Yeah, so if Maggie didn't say, that's a film, you know.
That's a film.
That's a film. Yeah.
So she also calls them two flies looking for a mangy dog. Two fleas looking for a mangy dog, which is also a great film. It's an art house French film.
That sounds like it could be the next Pixar movie, to be fair, couldn't it?
It's one of them shorts they should make you watch before you get to see the good one.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So she says, I hope George wipes...
The film would be called Suckers. That's a proper Pixar film.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. She says, I hope George wipes the floor with you at court tomorrow. Sadly, that does not happen. Will is seeing Megan at her flat at the precinct. I'm not really sure. This is really confusing. He's gone to see Megan. It feels like he stayed the night with her. Then he went back to the pub and then he went back to Megan again.
I didn't write it down. I don't know whether he just spent some time yesterday evening with her.
He did go to a mate's house, and I'm just slandering the poor child.
Well, he might do, but he doesn't seem to have any, does he?
Not really, no.
That's the thing. Maybe this is what this story needs, or are we already drowning in characters involved in this storyline, as we've said already? But seriously, does Will have any friends?
So that's part of the grooming. The grooming process is selecting people with not a good support system. Or alienating people from... I mean, that's what's happening with Todd and Theo.
Yeah. Well, he has also said that people at school are talking about me and they're making fun
of him.
Yeah. So I guess he hasn't got any mates. But which kind of...
But it's a new school as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's only been at the school for 3-4 months now.
Yeah.
And...
Right.
Yeah, and if he's come in just been gruff, grumpy...
Well, look.
Maybe he's not going to get any.
So, Will is at Megan's flat... And she gives it, if they decide to have this very intimate conversation in the hallway because she doesn't have a set. And she's stroking him and saying, oh, how are you? And he's like, oh, I'm managing. I love you. I love the baby. And they have a hug and Megan's like, this is my soap magazine face.
Is that the face of, there isn't a baby, but I can't tell him yet.
Yeah. This is when we find out that Trish has deleted her socials, and Ben hears that Tim had a heart problem because he's got a heart problem as well. So Steve doesn't have it, does he?
What?
Heart problem.
No, Steve hasn't. No.
It's a shame they can't have a club.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that Tim can bond with Ben over.
I do hope that Ben hasn't inherited. That's the word I'm looking for.
I mean, clearly, I don't know.
No, I don't think he clearly has or hasn't. But it's the little thread that Maggie was very, intent on pulling a few weeks ago. I suppose this has come along and maybe trumped it somewhat. Grandson being groomed, but she will return to that well.
War in Iran. It's all happening.
I know.
So first, somebody comes to Megan's door.
Yes, it's Maggie, isn't it?
It's first person mode.
Yeah.
And we don't know who it is.
I loved this scene.
She opens the door and she's all sad, and then she sees it's Megan and Maggie, and Maggie says, I think it's time you and me had a little chat. Come into the hallway. So she says, stay away from Will, and Megan says, no, he's not here. I haven't spoken to him. She calls her a liar. And then she says, Maggie says, is it love? Do I need to buy a hat? You make your own bonnet this Sunday. She
also says, Megan at this point says, how did you know I was here? Have you been tracking him? And Maggie's like, I don't even know what that means. And I believed her as well.
Did you? I didn't. I don't believe anything she says. That's why I like her so much. So she says, get away from Will. I'm going to do anything to keep my boys away from vile predators like you. And then Megan says, you're not as scary as you think you are, Maggie. And then Maggie says, no, I'm worse. You have no idea. And then
Maggie does like...
She looks so happy with herself.
She does. She likes to... It's because she's got the same lines trotted out. She's got them sort of pat, doesn't she?
She's got like a book.
I'll do anything for my family. Yeah. You don't know what I've done to support my family.
I killed a man.
Oops. Oh, shouldn't have said that.
Oh, it doesn't come out yet.
That was like...
So yeah, she says, I'll do anything, blah, 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 blah. And then she says to Megan, your baby's going to live with me when you're in prison. And I'm going to let her know what a vile bitch of a mother you are. And Megan's like, no!
This was peak Maggie. I just loved it. I want to know how many people who were on the anti-Maggie train have been able to be converted in the past couple of weeks. And I know that there's still a lot of Maggie haters out there. I know.
Who could hate her?
But she's just been on fire this past couple of weeks.
She bounces Megan off the wall like a pinball machine, leaves her on the floor crying.
But, Megan did grab her first.
Yeah, it's her fault.
And the way Megan contextualised it with Will is saying, yeah, your grandma attacked me.
Yeah.
But it was a case of...
She lunged at her when she said something horrible.
And she's like, what did she say? Get your vile hands off me.
She said, get your filthy...
There's something along those lines, wasn't it?
Did you not write it down?
I don't think I wrote it down, no.
Deviant hands.
Yeah, okay.
Filthy deviant hands. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. She's got some great vocabulary, that woman. Anyway, she leaves Megan on the floor crying.
Would you say, sorry to dwell on this, but this was probably my scene of the week, it did mirror slightly what happened with her and Alan, because they were having an argument, weren't they? And she didn't really push Alan from what we saw, but he kind of came at her, and we all know what happened to him in the end. Like, Maggie didn't instigate the physical violence that led to Alan's death, and she didn't instigate this, physically at least, as well.
I don't...
So I don't, in her head, for both of these incidents, how much does she blame herself? Because she seems like the she certainly seems like the sort of person that was like, well, it's Alan's fault, he came at me. And here, sucks to be you, Megan, but you grabbed me first.
Maybe that's why she doesn't feel any guilt about it, because it's like, I didn't do anything. She started it. And if you're a pregnant woman, it's your responsibility to not go around attacking people.
Yeah. This story has reminded me a little bit of what happened with Tracy and Becky and Steve back in 2012, and how Tracy got her comeuppance because she was pregnant, wasn't she? I don't know how well you remember this. And then she lost the baby.
Who did? Becky.
Tracy did. And then Becky... Did she push Tracy down the stairs, or did they have a tussle and Tracy went down some stairs? I'm vaguely remembering. And then Tracy ended up blaming Becky on her losing the baby.
Yeah.
And then on Steve and Tracy's wedding day, that's when Becky walks in, and she's got the medical records from Becky that she and Gail have got from the medical centre that proved that Tracy wasn't pregnant when she had the tumble. And then she kind of drops that on Steve and Tracy on their wedding day, then goes and jets off to Barbados, and that's the last we saw her. So that this is similar, that at some point, although Maggie is, in the firing line at the moment from Will, I suppose, for being responsible for the baby's death, and he can't out and out say my baby's death, but we know he's thinking that. At some point, maybe Maggie will be the one that finds out. She's seemed the most determined to keep Megan away from them and to get to the truth. Is she gonna, proudly reveal somehow, somewhere to Ben, to Will, she wasn't even pregnant when I did it? I don't know. But
I don't know either.
It reminded me of that anyway.
So Megan's like crying on the floor, holding her stomach, and Maggie's like, I haven't even started. Bye.
I mean, Maggie doesn't think at the moment, oh, I could have hurt the baby.
I don't know why you wouldn't immediately think, oh, shouldn't have done that.
If a pregnant woman is on the floor clutching her belly, she was kind of walking away like an action hero away from an explosion, wasn't she? Yeah. With a smug little smile on her face. But you would have thought that maybe she'd be thinking, have I just killed my grandchild? But like you said, if she's saying, well, Megan's the one that started it. Great-grandchild. If she's the one, even if she thought that Megan's the one that started it, any decent person might still say...
she's not though, is she?
No, she's not.
Good for her.
Oh, gosh, she's
just
not
go off and leave her.
She's so not going to stay in the show,
fight with me.
She? Maggie is not a long-term character in this show.
Do not fight with me, because I'll kill one of you.
Oh,
right, Will gets home from school. He's been skiving and his phone was on silent because they were trying to text him to see... people kept trying to keep contacting him to talk to him about Miss Walsh, as he calls her.
Well, that's what he said, isn't it? But
Ben and Eva are like, okay, that explains why you weren't there. And then he goes to the back and looks at his phone. He's got a bunch of urgent texts from Megan going, you've got to come now. Maggie looks at her phone and she has been tracking Will on the Trollop tracker, but it's offline.
You're calling Will a trollop?
Yeah. Megan's a trollop.
It's funny that this story and the Todd and Theo story are both partially revolving around tracking people.
Maybe somebody in Coronation Street is trying to get it banned.
I want there to be a scene where Maggie and Theo are walking down the street, both staring at their phones, and then they collide into each other.
And then they pick up the wrong phone and they're tracking the wrong person.
What's Will doing going into Theo's bedroom right now?
Why is Will at the coroner's office? Oh no! Right, so
what's Theo doing going to
school?
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to.
Hope he's not going to tell a teacher on me.
Right, so Will and Megan meet in the car at night. He tells her he found a tracker in his coat pocket and got rid of it, so that she can't track him anymore. But Megan says that Maggie attacked me and now I've lost the baby.
I thought that bit was over a little bit too quickly. The bit that he thought he realised he was being tracked. It was almost, maybe it had to explain why Maggie was able to find Megan. And then they're like, well, we figured that out now. Let's just get rid of it, within the space of a scene. Would Will... I don't know. I don't know what a tracker looks like. If you were to track me...
How do you know I'm not? I do track you anyway.
No, you do, actually.
You let me do it.
I know. But if you were to plant a tracking device in my coat pocket, would I realise what it was? I don't know. What do they look like? Is it just like an AirTag?
I think there's different sorts.
Because I'm sure, I know that Apple don't want us to think that AirTags can be used to track people and it's just for finding your keys when you've lost them. But we know, don't we? Just ask Maria. She was tracked, wasn't she? She was tagged.
Well... On Thursday, Will is feeling sad over breakfast, and it's obviously he knows that Maggie...
Yeah, he's feeling a bit bereaved.
Maggie has what he thinks killed his unborn child, but he can't say anything about it, because if he says anything, then everyone's going to know that he was lying and that Megan's going to get in trouble.
Lucky for him, he's always glowering over his cornflakes, so nobody suspected a thing.
These were oysters.
Oysters with some milk on top.
Just floating in brine. Right, so he gets annoyed with Maggie. Can't really say what's going on, but they're all the Driscolls are having their breakfast when Lisa Swain comes in and says, "I want a word with you, Maggie," and she's like, "Oh, not now," basically.
She said, "Can I call you Lisa?"
Yeah, no, not really. And Lisa tells her that Megan Walsh says that she was assaulted by her, and Maggie's like, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that," and Will's like, "Ah." So Maggie says, "Look, I did go and I think Lisa's still there."
Yeah.
Maggie's like, "Yeah, so what? I went to go and tell her to stay away from her family, but she's a liar, so you can't believe anything she said." And Lisa says, "Well, I'm sorry, but you've got to come and give a statement." So she leaves her card, and Maggie tells Ben that Megan slipped. I don't know how she would actually get in trouble for this, because it's... How would you know?
Well, I'm sure there's no CCTV in the corridor of the precinct flats, are there?
No.
If there was, then we'd have known what happened to Lauren.
We would have seen Will and Megan together.
Yes, we would have seen that too as well.
Megan's probably deleting this footage as we speak. So Will and Megan chat in the car again, and then he says to her that their baby was murdered. So, and he insists that Maggie is a baby killer. And Megan says, "No, it's a sign that you should get. Maybe it's a sign you should get out of the relationship." But he's like, "No, I'll kill my nan instead." Yeah,
is this her gently trying to bring this troublesome affair to an end?
So Maggie goes to see Megan again, and Megan tells her that she's had a miscarriage, and Maggie's kind of shocked, but then she turns it around right away, and she's like, "Oh, so you can tell us whose baby it was then?" And Megan says, "It was Daniel's baby. I'm sick of all of this. Not everything is a power play, Maggie. Some things are too personal." And she looks super upset.
Yeah, she had been crying, and she's got a good reason to.
She wanted to keep this baby, but there really was no way it was going to work out in her favour.
It's a little bit like with Theo, really. I suppose it's showing that this monster does have a human side to them as well, and they're not just out and out evil. And they were trying to get, especially with the final scene on Thursday's episode, just that little bit of sympathy for the villain.
I just think it's just you're saying sympathy, but I don't think they're
is that
trying.
Not the right word?
No, I think they're just, it's motivation is what all of this is. It's motivation, because somebody's going to die on the 23rd of April, and we don't know if somebody's going to kill that person, but we do know that there are plenty of people who are accumulating motivation, and I think that Megan doesn't really feel that cut up about it at the moment. It kind of feels like she's accepted it as some kind of cosmic judgment on her. What she says to the therapist.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I'm not religious. I feel like I'm being punished. I had the chance of being a mum and I chose determination. Now maybe I'll never have another chance. So it feels to me like she's kind of accepted it in that kind of like very philosophical way. Whereas Will hasn't. Will is probably the kind of person who would lash out.
Yeah.
I don't think that Megan would. That's what I'm just saying. Like, I don't think that this baby dying is going to be a motivation for Megan to go after Maggie.
No, I don't think so. I don't see Megan.
I think that scene was quite an important scene where she goes to speak to this lady, but it did feel very weird, and it's what I've been saying for ages about people not having friends on the show to talk to, so we don't know what's going on in their brain. I don't think for a minute that she would tell anybody anything, because this is quite incriminating. Because she's admitting that number one, she's admitting that she didn't lose the baby through a miscarriage that she's blaming Maggie for. And number two, it's kind of like, it's saying that she's had a termination, which makes her look a bit guilty about the fact that she doesn't know who the father is.
Do we know it was definitely a therapist that she was talking to?
No, I don't. It looked like some kind of... It looked like some kind of official setting.
Yeah,
it wasn't
like,
just two mates having a chat.
No. Like, is there...
Who was it been then?
Or somebody at the hospital? Is there an aftercare kind of... I don't know. Like...
I don't think so.
I'm not sure, but I
It'd be nice if there was.
I get that Megan probably... No, Megan has got friends at the moment, hasn't she? Even though we've not seen them, didn't we learn that she was staying with a friend?
She's not got a friend she could tell I had determination to, does she? Because everybody knows what she's being accused of, and the fact that she could have a DNA test to prove her innocence, and she's decided instead to have a termination, really, really looks incredibly bad. And I bet you she is actually thrilled that she's been given this get out of jail free card by Maggie attacking her to say that it wasn't her. Yeah. It was a miscarriage. I'm 100% sure she would have always said it was a miscarriage, and she would have said it was due to stress. But now she's got the perfect scenario to say that was when it happened.
Yeah, it's like soap poetry how it's all worked for her.
Well, it's very dark and Shakespearean, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Daniel is with Ken at number 1, and they're having a good heart-to-heart here. And I thought this was interesting, because this was really not necessary at all, unless Daniel's going to be drawn into this murder mystery.
Well, we see a little bit more of it on today's episode,
just used
don't
to
we?
Daniel
where he's so down in the dumps,
accepting the fact that he's a loser. And he seems to have been under the illusion that he isn't a loser until this point. But he sort of says to Ken, "I can't believe it. Turns out I am an idiot."
Well, he's saying that no more Mr. Nice Guy about himself.
What have you been before now? You're such a whiny little bitch. Daniel really is such a... Like, he really literally does think he's Mr. Nice Guy, but he isn't. He's a manipulative weirdo who is obsessed with himself, thinks everyone else is stupid, and treats women like idiots.
Well, I mean, he's a proper chip off the old block of Ken, isn't he? So, like, Ken probably thinks that he's like, yeah. I happen to think I'm a great guy too. Do
you know how many...
So it's on a mug.
It's on a mug. Do you know how many poems Deirdre wrote when we were together? 1, it was a limerick. So women are just stupid, son. There's nothing you can do about it, but they are sexy. So anyway, so they talk about whether Megan was inappropriate with Bertie, and he says no, I really don't think so. But I feel stupid because I obviously don't think about anything. The fit bird looks at me and all reason goes out the window.
I'm always attracting fit birds. What can I do?
Sexy women just flock to me, Dan.
I know, Daniel.
Oh, it's really difficult. Wait till one gets a boat. He'll be so confused. He says it's our
cross to bear.
It's because we're handsome and the main character. It's because you're a Barlow, son. You should have seen Frank. He had to beat him off with a stick.
Yeah, it's happening to Simon as well, just not when he was on screen.
No, you should see what they're like in the Mediterranean. They can't get enough of him. So anyway, he says, I know that she never fancied me. I'm a laughingstock. I was her beard. He was a cuck. He's been on the internet, hasn't he?
He's been learning words, hasn't he? Yeah.
He says, I'm not going to be Mr. Nice Guy, gets you mugged off. I think it's quite funny that he's made himself the victim. Some poor kid. And he's like, I'm the victim here. I was mugged off.
He's not the main victim.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciated this. I mean, any appearance from Ken is, always going to be good.
Ken's like, oh, God, my kid is so insufferable, isn't he?
Yeah.
What have I done wrong?
No, I love that and him in today's episode as well. So it was a quiet character moment. You're right, it wasn't necessary, but it was two important characters. And even though Daniel is... I really think that I think that he's a really important character, and I really like his character, even though he's very deeply flawed as a character as well. But that doesn't make him, a bad character in my eyes. So yeah, something is definitely brewing here, and we know that when things brew with Daniel,
people die.
People get pushed down the stairs.
Yeah, I know. So imagine Maggie versus Daniel, a stair pushing competition. Mm-hmm. Who will die on the 23rd of April? Both line up, both at the top of the stairs having a tussle. Who's going to die?
Because he thinks that this is 100% Will's. Bill Webster's got another secret child. No, it wasn't. No,
I don't know.
He lost a child. Forget it. He thinks that this is definitely Will's baby, but could there be a point where he believes, what if it was my child?
I'm glad they haven't gone down that route, honestly, because I couldn't stand the angst of this as added on to everything else.
But we need there to be more suspects about who could kill Maggie.
Well, it depends on if Maggie's going to die.
No, it does, but I still think...
This could be Megan or Maggie. I think that this is setting Daniel up to have a bigger role in April, the 23rd, than we thought.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Because there's no... this, fine, okay, he would feel sad, but Coronation Street has brushed over much larger issues that people would have we would have wanted to hear people talk about than this. It wasn't really needed, therefore I think it is. And then the fact that the Daniel turns up in Friday's episode lusting after Jody, who is also another person who could be a victim, really makes me think.
Yeah, that's true.
The other thing that's weird, and I don't think this is related, but the fact that Sydney Martin and who plays Betsy and Sally Carman, who plays Abby, have both dyed their hair darker. It makes me wonder if it's going to be a bit like that episode where everyone's has got Liam Connor's face.
Yeah.
During the
everyone had Tony Gordon's face, didn't they?
Sorry, yeah. During Liam's stag do, and then somebody gets run over. Liam gets run over. Spoiler. Like, everybody's dyed their hair the same colour, and so 23rd of April, it's just going to be a mass murder of brunettes.
Well, I think everyone's just... all the blondes are dyeing their hair brown just to make sure that Daniel doesn't go after them next.
It's a sensible move.
Yeah.
It's really sensible.
If you've got brown hair, you're safe, but Jodie's like, well, maybe not. At the moment, who is there lined up to kill Maggie, potentially? Because I always felt that she was an odd one to have as... a potential victim.
This is what we said. Everything will change.
I don't think that Ben would kill her, but I assume that he's going to be there as one of the potential whoduniters if she turns up dead. Will, clearly. Megan, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Daniel. Don't forget that anybody could kill somebody in a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, but they had that with Natasha, didn't they?
I don't care. That's what they're going to do. So what?
So she's got a few people that it could be. Megan, they're lining up to kill Megan at the moment. Carl, you got Kevin, you got
Tyrone walking around again. He's obviously trained himself to get out of the wheelchair so he can kill Carl.
Ben is not Carl's biggest fan at the moment either, is he?
No.
There's a few people that were against Carl. Jody, again, nobody really.
Do you think...
Bethany? I don't know.
There's an outside chance, and I would hate it if this happened, but I think we do have to consider the possibility that maybe Debbie has a violent outburst, and kills Carl.
No.
It is possible.
It's possible, but I don't
think it will happen, but then we'll get Lou back in the show again, because she'd be back in the slammer.
That's a very good point. And who's the other potential victim? Theo. Well, everyone's lining up to do Theo, aren't they?
I think they might break the fourth wall and have a viewer kill Theo.
I wonder whether in the next few weeks we'll start to see a little bit more with Jodie, because at the moment, really, she is so far of an outlier into the victim here.
I think that Carla's going to kill her to hide the fact that she didn't do a DBS check.
Yeah.
Right, so anyway.
Maybe Connie will kill Jodie. Eh?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking Susie could kill Maggie. Maybe Ollie kills Maggie with a dodgy oyster, and it's been there in plain sight since Monday.
I'd really love it if there has been a clue that they've stuck in there that nobody's noticed yet. That's the best thing, isn't it?
That's the best when it happens, but we're too...
People are too on the ball.
It's not that we're on the ball, it's that we talk about it so much that we... Like monkeys on a typewriter.
Yeah.
We come up with it because we just won't shut up. Speaking of which, let me tell you how the rest of Thursdays goes.
Oh, sorry.
Because Maggie comes back to the pub and tells Ben and Eva that Megan's lost the baby. And she says, look...
I'm going to say she's lost the plot.
I was going to say that. She says, I didn't attack her. And also she's dropped the charges against me. So... And then she looks quite downbeat and she says maybe she hasn't got the energy for the fight because I know I don't. And Ben's really gutted because he thinks that they've lost their only chance of proving what happened to Will, and he blames her for it. Blames Maggie.
Ma.
I feel so sad for this baby, this poor baby who was referred to as a piece of evidence. It's horrific. It reminds me of that story about the poor child who was born as a organ donor for his brother or her brother. Or sister.
That sounds like little Layla being a bone marrow transplant for Frankie.
Yeah, it is. It seems like such a logical, great idea. Like, of course, we could
use the power of science to solve this.
We could use the power of babies. Everyone loves babies. Yeah, but like referring to this poor baby as a piece of evidence. He even says it later, Ben. It was a piece of evidence. This baby was a piece of evidence, but it was my grandchild. Yeah. Like, it's really sad. It's such a tragedy, but it's very interesting how people are not thinking about it as a baby.
Everyone's kind of a victim in this story.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's no. It's not at all like
nobody's winning.
Nobody's talking about this poor baby.
No.
Maybe it will come back in 20 years' time.
It's because nobody's talking about it particularly because
it got grown in a petri
because Megan's the only one that could be free to talk about it, and we've not seen much of
her.
Will can't really say too much about it because he can't admit that he thinks that it's his, and that must be very, very difficult for him. Daniel's not talking about the baby because he thinks it's not his.
I just think that there's not a lot of him. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of emotion attached to it, but maybe they feel differently about. Obviously, everyone's got their own opinion about when a fetus becomes a baby, and I keep saying baby, and obviously it's the fetus.
Well, yeah, she'd been pregnant 3.5 months, maybe.
I remember in RE when we were young, in all girls school, and so we had this lesson, and we talked about when does life begin in a fetus, and we learned about how different religions believe. Like, Christianity technically believes the baby has a soul when it takes its first breath outside of the womb. Like, there's a passage that you can refer to. But I think I decided when I was very young, and I don't think I've changed my opinion, that when brainwave appears is when the baby becomes a person.
But there's definitely quite an anti-termination stance among Christians, isn't there?
Of course there is.
Particularly Catholics.
Of course, I know, but so I don't think that they're following.
No, but I mean, I suppose it's preventing it from having the chance of taking its first breath. If
there's so much, there are so. It's not really the place for this, but there are so many biblical scripture arguments about various, like, oh, this scripture here says that if you kill an unborn child, it's the same. Blah 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 blah.
Let's not go down.
No,
that
but I
route,
just think it's really interesting. I just think it's interesting.
It's interesting.
But I don't know when that brainwave starts, so I don't actually know when I think That is. I just remember, I guess they were trying to freak us out because they're all girls. Like, don't have a baby.
Yeah. It's the baby is alive as soon as you even look at the boy, so don't do it, girls.
Yeah, they're full of little babies. They'll fire into you. And they'll start growing and ruin your GCSEs.
Well, if you don't know, then I don't. You're the one with the A-level in biology, Gemma.
Yeah,
so.
I got it. What did I get in that?
You got a C.
I did, didn't I? That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't even know how I got a C. Right, on Friday, Ken talks to Adam about what he's worried about poor, vulnerable Daniel, and that Adam needs to look after him and talk to him, and Adam promises he will, which is why he turns up later to rescue him from being drunk at the bistro. They're all mad, the Driscolls are all mad at each other. Maggie corners Will and in the back room of the pub and says, right, that's it, I've had enough of this, you're telling me what really happened, you can talk to me. And I'm actually really surprised that she didn't try to blackmail him about Daniel, because she knows that he attacked Daniel and she covered for him, and if I was her, I would have used that to tell him, you've got to tell me the truth because I will dob you in.
Yeah, how much does her stance of, I'll do anything for this family, the Driscolls stick together, etc., count when she could use it to bring him down, or to get the truth out?
No, yeah, I don't think she ever would say anything. Of course she wouldn't, but she can still make him think that. So she says, look, that was your baby, wasn't it? Why would you be so upset otherwise? And he says, no, it's because I'm in love with her and I feel bad for her that she lost her baby. Somebody's got to feel bad about the baby. So she carries on asking him, oh, you're lying. Isn't it eating you up inside? I know what it's like to fall in love with someone you shouldn't have fallen in love with. And that's a song.
That's a song, Will.
From Shrek. She says, talk to me. It's me. Tell me how you really feel. And obviously she's referring to Jim McDonald there, isn't she?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Unless she's been slagging it around Northern Ireland and that's why she's had to move to Hull.
Well, look, she's been young, free and single since, she was in her 20s.
That's a lot of men to get
plenty of
through.
people that she's fallen in love with that she shouldn't have done. But yeah, I think that was a Jim McDonald reference, so it was.
I mean, who wouldn't fall in love with Jim McDonald?
He's a passionate man.
He's got a moustache.
That was all the rage back in the 70s, wasn't it? He was a hot stud. Something
to hold on to, isn't it, ladies? So they sit at the table. Will says, I'm not a victim. I was just stupid.
That's just like that Blackadder, isn't it? With what's his Lord Flashheart? Hey, bridesmaid, like the beard, gives me something to hang on to. Woof. That's what made me think of, anyway.
Classic.
R.I.P. Rick Mail.
I know. If only you could listen to this podcast, you'd love that reference.
I know.
So anyway,
I bet he was a massive Corrie.
Bet he was. Right. Okay. So Maggie says, "Will, you've been controlled like a puppet on a string." That's a song.
That's a song, Will. Do you remember it played the other week when Todd was looking very sad in the booth?
Will, you've got to tell me the truth and we can go to Waterloo. That's a song.
Why have we got to go to Waterloo?
It's a train station.
Oh, okay.
You escape. That's where everyone goes to escape, isn't it? Waterloo. That's the song was about that.
Was it?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't really know what the song was about. So.
Yes.
She says, I was just trying to think of other songs I could work in, but I literally can't think of it.
It was, pretty shoehorned in Waterloo, so
of course it was.
Let's not go down that route.
She says, you're probably just one in a long line of boys who she's just going to move on, she's going to keep using him, move on to the next one. And she gets really mad right in his face and shouting at him. Yeah,
because she starts off trying to do it calmly, doesn't she? But she can't keep it in, and she feels like she's so close. Woman. She's really, really close, and she's like, I gotta, come on, just tell me.
Ben and Eva walk in as she's losing her rag, and he storms off, and then Maggie turns on Ben and says, I was so close to finding out the truth. That's a song.
Probably is. Probably a lot of what she said could have been songs. If it's to do with matters of the heart.
Yeah, exactly. Achy Breaky Heart,
been a song title,
etc. Adam finds Daniel in the bistro, who's getting very drunk by himself.
Sorry, I did just throw that in there with no extra explanation in the notes.
Ken speaks to Ben in the pub and says, look, Daniel didn't know anything about this. And Ben says, I just blame myself. He goes to see Maggie in the back room and says, why are you blaming Will? And she says, no, I was just trying to get the truth out of him. And then he says to her, you're just making this worse. You've got to talk to him, you're not shout at him. And he says, Everything I do is for this family.
No, I think she's saying, talk to Ben. Ben's saying, he's my son.
Well,
let me deal with it. Talk to me.
Yeah. Well, she's saying everything I do is for you and Will. And then he says, well, Will is my son and not yours. And then they argue again. And then he says, sometimes I think the wrong parent died. If my dad was here, I'd be better off. And she says, you didn't even know him. You don't know what kind of man he was. You taking his side over me, your flesh and blood. And then he says, what the hell does that mean? And she says, nothing, I'm just an idiot. I thought that was quite clumsy. That didn't really make... Like, it was one of those... That just seemed like a slip-up. That wouldn't make me suspicious at all.
I don't know. I think it might do. I think the way it came out, her saying flesh and blood, like, would she have said that? And the only reason that I would think that she might say that is she's been doing a lot of thinking recently about the fact...
You can excuse it by saying that.
I think that excuses it, but it wasn't as clunky as Tim realising that he too was abused.
He questions
But I like the look on her face when she says it, because she's facing the camera and she's like, it was a bit of a Hagrid. I shouldn't have said that kind of moment.
Hopefully he hadn't noticed. So she says...
he doesn't let it drop.
Well, no, what do you mean by that? And he says, what does that mean? And she says, oh, well, obviously Alan was your flesh and blood, but I'm here and he's not. Sorry if you don't like it, that's just the way it is. And I didn't push him down the stairs, he fell.
Oops, I said too much again.
I shouldn't have said that. He's still a bit suspicious, but she swears it's just a slip of the tongue, and then says, right, you're on your own, don't come crawling to me when you mess it up. So he ends up moping about in the bar and tells Eva, and she gives him a brandy and a hug.
That's all right. Maybe she could put some Boy's Own on for him. He'd love that. Was it Wednesday or Thursday's episode that was Joe Parkinson's episode?
Wednesday?
I think it was Wednesday. So there was a really great dialogue in there. That was when they was talking about Sally and her salmon sandwich as well, and Eva dropping in. Because I can't remember.
They were talking about Oasis because Will was telling Ben about Oasis, and he's like, don't tell me about Oasis. And then Maggie says, I thought you liked the other ones.
Yeah, and then Will says Blur. Yeah. And Maggie says, no, Westlife.
No, Boy's Own.
Boy's Own, sorry, yeah. Ben too old for Westlife.
Ben is too old for Westlife. Yeah, did they not come out at the same time?
No, gosh, no. There was a good 6 or 7 years between them, I reckon. My sister was a big Boy's Own fan.
And you were Westlife?
No, I can't remember whether my sister got into Westlife afterwards or not. Not sure.
I was not.
Anyway, nothing wrong with a bit of Boy's Own. We all love that Ronan Keating song, don't we?
Life is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Just got to ride it.
No. What was that one that everyone liked?
You say
when
it
you
best.
Say nothing at all.
When you shut your fat gob.
That's a song. Anyway.
Which one's the one that died?
Stephen Gately.
From
Boy's Own.
Boy's Own. And
I think it's one of Westlife died.
Who's the one that was in Coronation Street?
Keith Duffy.
Was from?
Boy's Own.
Boy's Own.
Yeah, see, that should have been a reference. Like, Ben used to love Boy's Own, and then Eva could have said, funny story about Boy's Own. One of them used to work here, undercover. He called himself Kieran.
Do you like Girls Aloud? Because you're never going to find. You're never going to guess.
Too soon, Gemma, too soon. Can't make Jodie jokes.
Do you like hearsay? You're never going to guess.
That's true. Coronation Street has had its fair share of... teen band rejects. Well, not rejects.
How
members.
very dare you?
Melanie
People
B,
who are repositioning their entertainment career into soap operas. And you notice now they've got rid of Sexiest Soap Star, that it's all dried up for a minute.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, well, I'm not going to be in it then if I can't be the Sexiest Soap Star of the year.
Although, to be honest, if there were any new characters that were played by boy or girl band members, I probably wouldn't know these days because I don't know anyone who's been in the charts for the last 15 years.
I can't wait to welcome to the cast Harry Styles.
Literally.
Who's the only one I know.
I'm pretty confident that if Harry Styles made an unannounced cameo appearance in Coronation Street, I wouldn't notice. You'd have to say, look who it is, Michael.
I think I'd have to be told it was Harry Styles because he's got a generic...
I don't know what Harry Styles looks like. Isn't he just a handsome
boy with long hair?
I really don't know. I've got no idea. Anyway, no, I might know him.
What about Billie Eilish? You know who she is because she's in a movie about herself.
I would not 100% know who Billie Eilish was as she walked in. And I know... Oh, look, there's a heron flying outside. Can you see? Sorry, everybody. We don't... I mean, is that a heron? It is
Dropping
a
off
heron.
a baby to some Coronation Street character. Is it Betsy?
Is it Maggie? And she actually isn't.
Maybe. Right. Anyway.
Like, at one point there was something in Megan's dialogue where she was talking about babies, wasn't she? And you thought, oh, did she have two?
Yeah. No, it's because she used that. She said they, them.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, oh,
it's a gender neutral singular pronoun. But it could have been, if there was one baby that was gone, but she still had another one. But I think that's more
Star
twists than we want to be dealing with, isn't it? Right. Okay. But also,
I don't care anymore.
If there was, then
yes, what?
That runs in the family.
That's not how it works.
No, because Daniel had been a twin, and whose twin died in the womb, then Peter and Susan twins.
Oh,
yeah. But anyway, we're going too deep on the Coronation Street iceberg at the moment, and we're now nearly 2 hours into this podcast.
We've only got one.
And we've only got one story under our belt, but it was a cracker of a story, wasn't it?
Cut half of this out.
It was great this week. Okay, so the Todd and Theo and George malarkey this week.
Right,
all the drama
disclaimer
there.
up front: against abuse. I'm against abuse. Are you?
Yes, I hate it.
Okay, good. Right.
I hate it.
Just saying that because you got to spell it out.
All kinds, especially.
I don't like pet abuse.
Especially on the air podcast abuse. She just. You don't know, listeners, but she just made a threatening gesture at me. She's doing it. She's doing it right now.
No, that's not funny. See, now we've said we don't like abuse, so.
Right, so Sunday.
You have to cut that out.
No, keeping it in as evidence. I was right up in Gary's face last week saying, well, in his ears maybe.
What are you talking
saying,
about?
Gary, what the hell are you doing? Why have you gone along to this wedding? Why are you acting like an imbecile? You have got a lot of making up to do to get back in my good books, mister. And he did. And it didn't actually take very much work at all, because by the end of Sunday I was like, yeah, go Gary. Gary's going to take Theo down.
I much prefer the caged lion Gary than the spandex wearing idiot who went to
Me too.
Theo and Todd.
Me too. He's definitely, he's like a hard man, but when the rest of the lads aren't looking, he's a bit of a softie, isn't he?
He likes.
I think that kind of does.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description.
Like, I don't think he'd be doing his spandex aerobics in front of all his many mates that he has.
All of his man friends.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought he was absolutely cracking on the Sunday.
He's so menacing.
Yeah. So anyway, Sunday's episode was the one that started with a really interesting camera shot, wasn't it?
This was directed like a kind of horror movie almost, wasn't it? Or like the beginning of like a mystery, and it's almost as though there was a body on the floor, and they flashed forward to the 23rd of April.
It really was, because the camera was like low down, looking at Christina, who's looking like utterly aghast.
Well, she just looks very upset,
empty,
staring down at the cobbles.
I think she's looking at her phone, but it could be that she's looking at the cobbles. And then you got Summer up the Red Bank steps, also with her phone there, and it really was like what's happened here? But really all it was Christina had summoned Summer and the others to, I don't know what the text says, meet me in the middle of it. Or maybe she just sent a location saying, meet me here, and someone was like, what, is that the steps? Is it in the middle of the street? Is it in Seb's garden? I don't know. But anyway, Christina, Summer, Sarah, Glenda all have their little meet up on the cobbles.
It was like Avengers Assemble.
It was like that, wasn't it? And Christina says George reckons Theo has been abusing Todd. So
I like this. I thought this was great. I thought this episode was very well. Something it just felt different in some kind of way.
It did.
These scenes felt really important and consequential somehow because of the direction.
I mean,
partly
it was, but sometimes when Corrie loses its camp edge and it gets serious, a bit like this, it can maybe have a bit more of an impact.
Yep.
I don't know. But anyway,
it's also because these characters, although they have been involved in this Todd and Theo storyline, most of them are like Christina and George were comedy relief. And now here they are. No, you're right, actually. You're right. There's there's no kind of little extra comedy lines or jokes thrown in there. They are, we need to save Todd. It's almost like they've come crashing down to earth, like these larger than life kind of cameo, caricatures of people have just suddenly been brought to reality.
Yeah, and I mean, Summer's not necessarily that, but even Sarah Louise can sometimes be a bit of a flighty bimbo, can't she? But she's been brilliant this week. And Glenda even, definitely a caricature of a character sometimes, a very over-the-top, larger-than-life, but she got the tone just right this week.
The skill of all these performers and the director and great writing.
Meanwhile, you got Theo cooking his Sunday sausages for Todd, saying, well, marathon's over now, you can fill your body with whatever rubbish you want. Was it Sunday sausages? I've lost track, because I know it was on Sunday, but I think it was probably last Friday's episode.
Sausages.
And so I think that this Sunday episode is not actually going to be set on Easter, it'll be Friday. I don't know.
What?
Anyway, if they're eating a hot cross bun, that's how you'll know. And if they're eating an Easter egg...
We've been eating hot cross buns for months.
Yeah, but we haven't had one today, and today is Good Friday, the traditional day of hot cross buns. It's too late, yeah. Anyway, Theo's making these sausages, but still putting in these little digs at Todd, saying, well, Fat Boy Slim... I can't remember what else he calls him, but he's just so...
That's a
blood
song.
boiling. Fat Boy Slim. He's an artist, you know. So, the gang, the anti-Theo brigade, head into Shuttleworth's, and they're just kind of starting to put things together and remember the clues. Remember the episode when everything was from a camera's point of view?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the episode when we went on a location shoot to Canal Street?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the episode when Theo smashed a glass at Christmas and blamed Todd for it?
Yeah, that was sad.
And they're all just kind of, having these little flashbacks of their own without the flashbacks appearing on scene. Thank you very much. Don't think we had any silly camera or sound effect nonsense this week, did we? I suppose that Maggie doing her first person to Megan's flat was maybe the closest they got.
Look. I liked everybody putting it all together.
It was great. Yeah, and then the conversation is cut short because Todd walks inside and everyone apart from George and Sarah Louise Scarborough, though I think Sarah's gone by the time the action returns to them. Theo's in no doubt that he was the one. Todd, sorry. I was thinking last week.
Yeah.
You know, some people have a swear jar.
Yeah.
I need to have a little jar where I put £1 in for charity every time I call a character the wrong name. And I wonder whether it'd do the right job.
Somebody can count.
Yeah, I do know their names. I do. Anyway, Todd's saying, this is none of your business, guys. I've got an explanation for every single incident that you're talking about. I'm not a battered husband. And that's the end to it. And George is like, nobody says that he's battering you. And Todd kind of has to backpedal a little bit there, saying, good, he isn't. And this kind of gets the cogs whirring a little bit in their heads, like thinking, well, you know...
Why'd he say that?
Yeah.
Why'd he go straight to that?
Is he being battered? If only Billy was still alive. He knew, didn't he? So saw the bruises.
So frustrating.
Saw the bruise. They just need to spill a drink over his shirt again and then it'll all come out.
Well...
Although I don't know how bruised he is at the moment.
Nobody
feels like
thinks
he's
about the laundry.
No, it feels like it's been a bit of a while since Theo has probably hit Todd. But I think he's in very shaky ground at the moment, and he's only just won him back. I think he's probably having to dial himself in a little bit, and he knows that these guys are onto him. I think that if there were any chance that he could leave any marks on Todd, or even that Todd would go and dob him in, it'd be curtains for him. So he's playing softly at the moment with it, and just calling them horrible names. That's all, and making fun of him.
Yeah.
So Sarah's with Gary later, telling him what the rest of the gang had kind of worked out, and he's not believing any of this. Just for a second. He's like, no, he's a great guy. I went to his wedding. It was a laugh.
But also, Gary is Theo's only friend on the street. And they're like actually mates. And he is Gary's friend before I think he's Gary's only man friend. Really.
Oh, probably.
Close friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gary is definitely Theo's only man friend.
Nobody's got any friends on the programme, have they? So you're probably fairly safe in saying that. Sarah says, well, look, you were at the wedding. Did Todd look like all of his dreams had come true? And Gary said he was smiling. And Sarah's like, but was he smiling? With his eyes. I thought that was really well done, actually. You were a bit of a head shake on that moment, but I like that. And that was a bit of a penny drop moment for Gary, who's still learning to get in touch with his feelings, isn't he? Like, I know he's been a bit of a Neanderthal in the past, but yeah, it felt like he learnt another lesson today that sometimes the mouth smiles don't say at all.
Well, he should speak to, what's her face, Tyra Banks. Because she always says you smile with your eyes. She calls it smizing.
He doesn't need to speak
Why
to
doesn't Gary know about the art of smizing?
Well, Maria's probably told him about it once, but he wasn't listening.
Right, here you go.
I imagine there's lots of conversations that go in that flat where Maria tells Gary things and he's like, goes in one ear out the next.
This is me not smiling. This is me smiling.
It doesn't work on a podcast, but I see what you're getting at.
Tyra Banks did it once and I could totally tell the difference.
Right, so we have a little scene where Todd is on Martin Hett's bench in the gardens and he's ignoring his phone calls from Theo. And Gary finds him later outside the flat and says, well, how are things going, mate? By this time, he has done a full 180 and he seems like pretty convinced that what Sarah Louise was saying could possibly be true. And Todd's not smiling with his eyes. And Gary's like, God, she's onto something, that girl. She knows things.
Women know about emotions.
Yeah. And so he says, look, can I come in then? This was a brilliant moment. Because they go upstairs and before Theo clocks that Gary's there, this is a bit like what happened with George last week. You'd have thought that Theo would have learned a lesson. Because they walk in and Theo's like, oh, you never cleaned the bathroom earlier. And then he sees Gary, and then he's like, oh, just banter again.
I'm sorry, but I don't get this because, like, if he hadn't cleaned the bathroom, what is Theo supposed to say? Well, I can't even remember how he said it.
I mean, it's not as...
It's not damning evidence,
It's not as damning as what George heard last week.
Gary should have gone to Todd, get the bloody bathroom cleared up. What's wrong with you?
It's not as damning evidence as that, but if Gary was in there looking for any evidence that maybe... Theo is a bit of a nasty piece of work, then if that's the first thing he heard... You can't
tell me that there hasn't been a similar conversation in many couples' houses where somebody said, the minute somebody walks in, you didn't clean the bathroom.
Well, I mean, earlier on, you called out to me saying, oh, you didn't find the dishwasher. No, what was the kettle? Because you asked me to put the kettle on and I forgot.
Yeah, I did say that. And
I'm not abused. But I love this next bit where...
That's official, everybody.
Todd... Yeah, that's also on tape now. Mm-hmm. Todd's making the tea, isn't it? And he's got the shakes.
Yeah, this is more like...
He's absolutely terrified that Gary is... Is he scared that Gary's going to find out that Theo is abusing him because he doesn't want the confrontation that would then be resultant from it?
Well, he's just scared that anything Gary says is going to upset Theo. It doesn't really matter what it is that he says. I think my problem a little bit with these two bits where George came in and Gary came in, is that both times I think that what was happening didn't feel as serious as the other stuff that we've seen Theo doing. Well, no, and I don't think if I was faced with this as evidence that I would go, oh, clear signs of abuse, I must immediately give him a go bag.
I know what you mean.
It's a pattern of evidence.
I think that George has probably got...
I don't know why they didn't give something a bit more conclusive.
I think George has probably got enough clues. The problem is, if the evidence had been too damning against Theo, I think they would have literally been like, right, Theo, right, Todd, you coming with me. And although they seem pretty convinced...
they could.
I think if they'd seen absolute evidence, then they would have, reported him to the police.
Actually, that might have... Well, okay, police is different, but actually might be a good idea to have them have really done, said to Todd, you're clearly being abused, get out now, come with me, and try to grab him, because Todd wouldn't have gone.
No, he wouldn't.
That's the whole point of this. Todd wouldn't have gone. And then when everyone left, then Theo would have, gone, well, that was your fault.
But you know what? Corrie characters love an intervention, don't they? So maybe they just cornered him when they had the chance, and if that didn't work, they just put a bag on his head and stick him in the back of a van. They could have overpowered him. Glenda, George.
Yeah, but that's not the point,
definitely.
Is it? That's not the point, because you can take him away from the situation as much as you want, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't want to leave. He'll just go back.
They just need to take him off to Rowan. He'd sort him out, wouldn't he? Stick him in a circle full of people shaming him until he gets brainwashed.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that is kind of like what is happening to him.
Yes,
because he
deprogramming.
Anything like that automatically alienates the abused person from their support network because they can't see what everyone else is telling them is true.
Yeah. Well, back to Gary.
It's like when you were a kid and you went out with a boy that had a nose ring. And everyone's like, he's weird. And you're like, I love nose rings.
You didn't go out, did you?
No. I wouldn't go out with someone with a nose ring.
So Gary...
I was really just thinking of your sister and that boyfriend that she had that your mum was absolutely horrified. That poor boy. He didn't know he boy stepped into a lion's den that night, didn't he? Bless his heart.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a fish out of water there, wasn't he? Didn't see him again, did we?
I don't think we did see that boy again, no.
Black nail varnish on a man.
My sister's moved house this week, everybody.
Yes,
still living in London. But she's on her own now, isn't she? Anyway.
With a cat.
With a cat.
You're never alone
fine.
if you've got a cat.
Yes. Right. Gary and Theo. They're having tea together in the lounge, cup of tea, and Todd's disappeared into the bedroom, clearly terrified out of his wits that anything's going to happen. And Gary points this out to him and saying, yeah, where is Todd now? Why is he in the bedroom? I saw his hands were shaking earlier, and Theo's laughing, saying, oh, he's just a nervous Nelly, isn't he? And Gary's like, Sarah told me about what happened, last week. If this turns out to be true, I'm going to do to you what I did to Noah. And I kind of forgot what went on there. He did.
Did he say that I'm going to do what you did to Noah to you?
I don't know. I can't remember what happened to Noah.
Dead.
Who attacked him?
Dead.
Did Gary attack him? Did Theo attack
him? I don't care. Basically, it doesn't matter. But he threatened him. He
left Theo in no doubt that he's on to him. But Theo is like, I'd like to see you try.
I'd like to see him try.
That was great as well. To having, Theo could have just laughed it off like he usually does, but he gets just that a little bit scary, doesn't he?
No, the ego gets involved and he's like, go on then.
Yeah. And Gary ends up saying, look, I'm on to you, Theo. We all are. So I don't think any of them necessarily came out on top there or on bottom. So that was a great kind of confrontation of manliness.
Ooh.
It was very tense.
Everywhere.
It was very tense.
We said before that Gary's not very good at winning fights, and then somebody challenged us, and when I look back on it, I don't know that he's as bad at fights as we thought he was.
He went through a stage of always getting beaten up. He did get beaten up
quite a lot, and I just think that Theo would Allen him down the stairs.
I think he would. Wipe the floor with Gary.
Gary doesn't know that. He's like a little chihuahua, isn't he? He doesn't really know that he's not super strong.
I mean, he's killed Rick Nealon, hasn't he? So he's got a higher body count than Theo. Oh my god.
See, this is why I couldn't be a soap character.
And Rana.
If I killed someone, I would be so excited to tell everybody.
Like Tracy. You'd be more of a Tracy than a Maggie.
But she's fine because she's been through prison about it. They can't get her anymore. She can say what she likes. She's actually quite restrained. I'd be saying it all the time. I'd be like, excuse me, can I have a white wine? Can you make it quickly? Because I killed a man. Hurry up.
Well, maybe Theo's going to find this out and then he'll be treading a little bit more carefully. There are too many bodies associated with Sarah Louise Platt that haven't actually been properly investigated. Okay, what else happened? Gary goes back.
Gary says we're all on.
Yeah, we're all on to you. And then he goes and finds.
Not really a good move because it puts Theo in the position of power of knowing that he has to conceal this abuse and maybe move. Which is what he wants to do. It's a bad move, but he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that, and I think it was definitely in character. He's the sort of person that said, "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough," sort of guy, isn't he?
But most people would have this reaction because you don't understand unless you've been told or you've seen it happen that you can't really fight abuse with the threat of violence. Weirdly,
and so Gary goes and finds Sarah and George in the pub and is like, "Yeah, I think you're right." Meanwhile, Todd emerges from the bedroom.
That was a really good scene where he just goes and quietly says, "Yeah,
what?
I think you're right."
Yes, yeah. It was great. Oh, this reminds me, actually. Do you remember at the end of last week's episode, we weren't sure whether Theo had gone into the... Todd, damn it. We didn't know whether he'd gone out of the flat or into the bedroom, and it was clearly the bedroom. Anyway, Theo later reveals to Todd he has some exciting news. That pal of mine who works in Belfast has offered me a job over there, and I've accepted. We can move over there. I thought you owned your own business. And he's Todd's like, we can't do that what about a job? What about? And he's like, oh, people die in Belfast too.
I've heard that.
Yeah. I've heard that they sometimes did. Alan, for example, remember him, Alan Driscoll? Plus, it's only half an hour away. He says, I could put you in a pea shooter and blow you across the Irish Sea. Which is a lovely line, I thought, of just showing what he thinks of
minimising
Todd.
Him.
Yeah, you're just like a little pea. Your little pipsqueak, basically. But it was, again, said as just a little joke. Like, from anyone else's... Again, in a healthy relationship, if you say that, it's just like a funny joke. But this... Yeah, that's hit differently coming from him. And Todd says, well, he's just beaten down by this point, isn't he? He says, why not? Let's do it. And yeah, so they agreed to go to Belfast, which is, I think Belfast's getting a bit of a bad rap at the moment because that's where Lauren was going to be sent. Is Belfast just the place where evil abusers like to smuggle you away to? Maybe.
Maybe Hull has paid off.
Do you reckon?
Just say Belfast next time. We're having to get so much crap off people now.
Right. Monday then. We didn't see a whole lot of Maria this week. She's saying, look, don't beat yourself up about this whole Theo thing. You weren't to know.
This is
that wedding was completely above board as far as we were concerned. Let's just agree with that.
She's like, I got nothing to do with this. I wasn't involved at all. You shouldn't blame yourself. But blame yourself, Maria. You were there too. Why are you making it out that it's Gary's problem?
Exactly.
It's because it's supposed to be his, it's Gary and Theo are supposed to be mates. But she has just washed her hands completely. It's like she's gone through all of the pictures and photoshopped herself out of them.
She's been on that street longer than all of them. She's had her fair share of drama. She knows when to just put the blame onto someone else.
I'm just happy for a story.
Just drama that's happened, exactly. So anyway, Gary summons Theo to the builder's yard later, but then he sees that there's a ring on the doorbell on his app, and Gary's clearing out all of Theo's stuff there. And chucking it on the workbench and said, well, I'm not having anything to do with you here anymore. Starts having a go at Theo and what a liar and an abuser he is, but Theo just stalks off because he's like, somebody at home, who on earth could this be? What's Todd up to now? And it's George that's arrived there, who has arrived at the flat to say, look, you need to come to number 11 right now. Here's an escape bag for if you need it. And Todd's like, no, this is mad. You're just feeling pressured by this court case that's going on. I don't need an escape bag.
This was such another really bad idea because they could have put this bag in the Undertaker's.
Well, it's Jodie's secret box all over again, isn't it?
Here's a piece of evidence that you can put somewhere.
Sorry, we've only got one set for this family, so you're going to have to conceal it in here somewhere.
This is kind of like a playbook of what not to do if you think your friend's being abused by somebody.
I don't know, it is quite a small flat above that shop. I don't know whether there's anywhere that he really could have hidden that bag.
But luckily he works around the corner, and if he's going to escape out of the front door, he could just as easily go to the Undertaker's and grab a bag.
It was a plot device that obviously Theo would then find not long afterwards.
Bless him, George, but 20 quid and a pound coin ain't gonna get you far, is it?
I love the bit when Theo's as horrific as it is, sometimes when Theo is on the front foot and he's like going la 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 la, it's like, I'm really enjoying watching this. I've not been shy about saying it, and he's like, oh, what's this pound for? Is this for your trolley? That was a great line.
He's evil.
He's so evil.
He's very enamoured with himself as a villain, isn't he?
He loves himself.
He kind of revels in being rude.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, Todd's like saying, I don't need it, but fine, I'll keep this bag. So later on, Theo comes back and Todd said, yeah, George came round, but I sent him away with a flea in his ear. And Theo's like, something needs to be done about that, George. And Todd's like, no, don't waste your energy on him. But Theo then sees that as Todd sticking up for him. And Todd is starting to... Well, he's been doing it for a while. He knows what to say.
Yeah.
To...
Play along with Theo.
To
get him to leave him alone.
And to stop... Yeah, exactly. To stop any further kebab or milk-related incidents. So he says, oh yeah, George isn't worth it, is he? And that appeases Theo for now. And then you get a little scene in the shop, don't you, with George looking up through the ceiling. Well, not through the ceiling, at the ceiling, saying, oh, it's very quiet in there.
You didn't pick up on this, but I think that this was a very ominous statement along the lines of "I'd do anything for my family," from Theo to say something needs to be done about George. Because I don't think that George is going to be a victim on the 23rd of April, but that doesn't mean that they don't get into an altercation. If Theo decides that George has ruined his relationship with Todd, goes after him, there could very well be an accident where Theo ends up falling off something.
Yeah, I know. And you know, I don't
that
think...
would be a very big surprise, I think, because I don't think many people think that George is going to be involved.
No, and he is a definite gentle giant, isn't he? He's also very protective in a fatherly way and colleaguey way and everything over Todd.
Theo is big and strong, but George has got you know, there's a bit of a guy. There's a real man there. I think that I wouldn't know who to bet on in a fight between those two, really.
You'd think the sensible person would say that Theo would still wipe the ground with him, but if George caught him unawares...
Exactly, he could overpower him if he's got the element of surprise.
Well, we know that something happens to Theo because he's bleeding, isn't he?
Yeah.
In the flash forward.
I would love to see George punch him in the face.
I really would, actually.
Or Christina. Or Glenda.
Maybe I'd rather Christina.
Who out of those three?
I think Christina.
Yeah, I think Christina
I think that if it was George, it'd be like, oh, George, you lovely, lovely George.
Yeah, because George would be upset. George would feel bad for himself. Christina would be like, yeah, I'm going to put that in the old memory bank.
Yeah, that coming. Exactly. Yeah. Who did you say, Christina, George, or?
Glenda. Glenda's too precious and beautiful.
Yeah. Let's have Christina do it. Yeah. She's done worse in the past that we've forgiven her for, hasn't she? There's just a little bit of this story on Wednesday. Because it kind of merges into George's trial story at some point, and Adam's now winding him up about how he's got this killer piece of evidence that's going to bring him down on the trial. And it turns out that he's got the son of that other woman who died in the Undertakers. I can't remember what her name is now.
Annie?
No, Annie's the one. Annie's the one that's taken him to court.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, Damien is the chap who is the grieving son, who is now their star witness as to how coercive George actually is.
Literally do not understand how this is a piece of evidence in a trial unless they're inferring or insinuating that George killed her, in which case that should be a murder trial.
Yeah, I don't.
What's that got to do with anything?
But to be quite honest with you, I'm very, very glad that we saw minimal George court scenes.
I did like the fact
I didn't need that
we got to see some today.
Yeah, there was enough.
There was enough.
But if we'd have, if anything, like...
If it had been days of it, it would have been a bit...
Yeah, at the expense of Driscoll drama, quite frankly, I would have felt that this week wasn't as good as it actually turned out to be. But anyway, Thursday rolls round, and any fans of Theo's physique, if not his personality, they got an eyeful on Thursday, didn't they? Because he was walking around with his dressing gown very much flapping, revealing that he's a bit of a strong boy underneath.
How can you tell if a character is a man or a woman on Coronation Street just by their dressing gown?
Yeah, it's
how high the safety pin goes on holding it closed.
Yeah, very true. Like, you know, Helen Worth, when she was in her fight with Eileen on the cobbles, she had a safety pin to stop that blue dressing gown opening, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Becky had one.
Yeah, if it had been the fight between Theo and George, it'd have been flapping all over the place, giving us a flash of his six-pack. Yeah. So,
the pack.
Anyway, he walks into the lounge right at the moment when Todd happens to be looking through his escape bag. And he's... I don't know why.
Why did he get it out?
Look, why did he even get it out? What's the point? I mean, I suppose Theo thought that... Damn it, Todd thought that Theo was in the shower.
Yeah,
but you don't need to look at it. Soap characters, stop getting out your secret hidden things just for the sake of the audience. Anyway... He learns a lesson, doesn't he? Because Theo comes over him and does a very theatrical look through it. It's like going, ooh, shampoo, 2-in-1. He got a bit of Head and Shoulders there, hasn't he? Other brands are available.
Didn't he say it was an own brand? Yeah. So he thinks that George is holding out on him. But, you know, George has got a court case to pay for now. So I bet he's glad he didn't waste all of his money on herbal essences.
He's got some toothpaste. He's got a wallet, £21 inside. And Todd is quite quick thinking here and says, well, George gave it to me because they thought we could take it to Belfast. And it must have sounded stupid coming out of his mouth to him, but at least it's something. Because nobody's really going to believe that, are you?
Nobody gives
Theo didn't.
A bottle of knockoff Head and Shoulders because they're moving to Belfast.
I mean, Theo stays quiet about it for now, but surely he doesn't believe this, does he? Meanwhile, you got George and Christina having breakfast at the cafe. There's really, really very few house sets that we're seeing at the moment. Like, I could understand it with the lawyer's office, but why aren't we seeing number 11?
I think it's because they want to have random characters come and talk to people. Like, Summer wouldn't have come over if they had been inside the Undertaker's or the flat or something, would they?
I know.
But it's
so silly. So silly.
I get it, but it's just one of those things that feels artificial.
Everyone having breakfast at the cafe, everybody working at the cafe.
What can you do? What can you do? It's a soap.
I don't know.
It is a soap, but it does feel contrived.
Anyway, Summer comes over and wishes them luck in this court case and says, "Oh look, it's easy. It's an open and shut case. When everybody knows that you're not scamming these old women, it's going to be fine." But when he tells her about Damien, it comes clear that he's definitely feeling a bit of a wobble going into this. I
just don't see what I nearly swore then. What the hell Damien's got to do with anything?
No, well, we never saw the trial, so we'll never know. Maggie, Adam
and Daniel and Alia keep just turning up to things, don't they? Turning up and like glaring at people.
Yes. I just said the name Maggie here because I've accidentally put a note about this story. In the middle of the wrong one. It's nothing too important. It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, the court cases happen later, and everyone's back in the bistro. Verdict's coming tomorrow. And this is another great scene. There were so many little great scenes this week. So this is Todd and Theo coming into the bistro as well. Theo holding up the escape bag and saying, "Oh, you wanted Todd to go missing, did you? Well, my back's turned." And then he reveals to the pair of them, to George and Christina, that they're moving to Belfast, actually. And you know what? It can't come soon enough. So everyone's...
I'll tell you something, because you keep saying, it's really great at the moment. And I definitely agree. There's been some really great scenes over the past few weeks. But it really is just all hinging on this 23rd of April thing. And I'm so worried that once that finishes, there will be no momentum and no end. I think it's really having an end date to this and knowing that it's leading to something specific. And that is why sometimes I think when you watch old storylines and old episodes of Coronation Street, because you know the general way that this is going to happen, you feel less annoyed by some of the things that might have annoyed you the first time because you know it's going to a certain destination. Yeah,
there's no theorising.
Like, you're not like, oh, I hate this, I think so-and-so's going to get away with it, or... Like, you know something's going to happen because of this, and so you feel a bit more able to enjoy it.
It's funny, it is all kind of going towards that date, but I don't think that that's going to be the end of it. I think there'll still be the whodunit.
But we don't know when that's going to end.
Fallout.
Like it's going to lead to the 23rd of April, and then something will happen that changes everything again. But then all of those things will blast outwards into their own trajectories, which may
hopefully, if they've planned it right.
Some will only last a few days, and some will last weeks or months. But we don't know what the end date of those stories will be. I'm
actually thinking about it. I'm not particularly fussed about who dies.
No, me either. I don't care.
Because they're all fairly minor characters, I just, as long as Maggie makes it out alive, I'm fairly fine with it.
Yeah, this is what I mean. I'm not like, this is what I see a lot of people saying, oh God, I hope it's Theo, he deserves to die, or Megan should be the one, or Maggie, or whatever. And I'm like, everyone will get their comeuppance, I promise you. Everyone will have the soap justice delivered to them. So I'm not... Like I said, I didn't care. I am very interested, but I'm not emotionally invested in any one outcome because I know all good things will come.
And to be honest, I still like it to be Carl the most just because I'm fed up with him. Jodie, I'm not at all invested in whether it's going to be her or not because I'm so convinced that it's not going to be her.
Cipher,
she's
a blank slot.
She's still she's not charmed me in a villainous kind of way.
There's nothing about her yet. I'm waiting.
I'm still interested in her secret box.
I do think something.
I'm interested in what she was doing in the van, but I'm not as engaged in that side of the story as I am with the Debbie side, with the Driscoll side, with the what's the other side? The Theo and Todd side.
So you got Theo, Jody,
if Theo,
Maggie,
Megan,
and
Carl.
Carl,
like, yeah, he can go. I don't think one way or the other. I don't particularly. No, I do. I want him to go, and I think now could be his time, but maybe it won't be. Although, you know, we said as well that there's still unfinished business between him and Debbie, and if she wins this appeal on Sunday, then there's still 3 weeks where that unfinished business could be finished.
Yeah. I genuinely think, for me, I'm not talking about everybody else, but for me, I would have been just as intrigued by this flash forward if it had only involved Megan, Theo and Maggie. Because Jodie's done nothing yet, really. I'm expecting something massive to come out all at once. And us to go, oh gosh, she's worse than everyone else all put together. And Carl, I just think has just been a low-level menace for months and months and months. It doesn't feel like... He is bad. Obviously, he's done terrible things. But he is the kind of like humdrum, everyday, antagonistic villain that really doesn't deserve a huge... like, you know, a massive story. Like, you could get rid of a Carl any day of the week.
Yeah, the Theo and Todd story, I get where people are saying this has run long enough now. And maybe it has. It feels like it's building up to a potential climax. And it's one of these things where, you know, it's got to end at some point. Especially if now they've said, you know, Belfast, we're going to be going there whenever.
23rd of April.
Maybe it is the 23rd of April that they're going to move to Belfast. So... If that story ends with Theo dead in 3 weeks' time, okay, we've had a good run. I wouldn't be too upset. Megan as well, I'm not as invested in her as a character. I'm disappointed because Beth Nixon has been cracking in the part. But would I be sad if her side of the story ended there? Yeah, not particularly.
There's not a lot of mileage in a paedophile.
Yeah.
Who has been unmasked?
Yeah,
really.
Maggie is just Maggie is just the one that I really don't want.
I love
to
Maggie.
Be her.
You're
I'm
right.
Not ready
I don't want to lose Maggie out of all of them. I really want to keep Maggie, please. It was Alan's fault.
Want to keep her for a while.
It was Alan's fault that he fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
And Jim McDonald is just too damn sexy. She's innocent.
Anyway, back to the bistro. Sorry, we got this great little comeback from Todd, didn't we? Who, like we were saying earlier, knows all the right things to say to keep Theo sweet.
Well, yeah. Let's just remind everybody, it's a confrontation.
Yeah.
Between Theo and Todd and all of the gang. The anti-abuse
like
gang.
West Side Story, wasn't it?
They were going.
and Todd says he kind of makes fun of Sarah's lousy choice of men. It's like, you never know the right one to pick, do you? And now you think you can solve it all by by getting involved with a policeman or something. Although he did forget that she was married to a sister at one point as well.
Huh? What?
Sarah. He was kind of insinuating that Kit's the first decent, in inverted comma, bloke that she's been out with because he's a police officer. But she was also married to Adam, who was also a, in inverted commas, decent bloke.
Adam's slime.
So's Kit. But anyway, that was really cutting because Sarah and Todd do have this really deep friendshiply bond, which I'm very, very glad that they've brought back again.
Yes, I agree.
Since he's returned, and you know, because they could. They could have both kind of held grudges over what happened.
Well, also just completely forget it ever happened, because there have been couples on the street who had massive, great big love affairs that lasted years and years that you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
knew each other.
So I'm really glad they've kept that. So that was really. I felt bad for Sarah when he said that, and then.
But we've nothing we haven't said.
Oh, I know, but it's different. Sarah Lou's not our friend. Sorry, Moby Dick, as we have got to refer to her as if you've listened to the bonus podcast this week. And he tells George, oh yeah, if you lose this case tomorrow, you're not going to see Christina for dust, which is not true at all. But it's an easy,
hurtful.
It's hurtful, and it's an easy one to go for because she has been a bit of a wrong 'un in the past. And then he's like, Brian, not even interesting enough to slag off.
Oh, what a cutting comment.
Which is not a million miles away from the truth, sadly, for poor Brian.
That's a damning on Coronation Street as a show.
It is actually, you're very right. And he tells, he kind of buggers off then, doesn't he? And they go into the street and poor Todd is feeling mega guilty. He thinks I went a bit too far there. Theo thinks it's great.
Theo's laughing his head off. He's like, that was brilliant.
Yeah, well done, Toddington. Friday, so we got the verdict today in George's case. He's got his mint imperial, so he's all fueled up for whatever the verdict is. And Todd comes along and says, sorry about last night. I love that he took a little glance up at the flat before he said it as well. It's like, is Theo watching me? Okay. And George says, you're scared of him, aren't you? You don't want to go to Belfast, do you? And Todd says, look, it's for the best. Which isn't
Belfast
a yes or a no, is it?
We had some Titanic tea earlier today.
Belfast is like, did we? Oh, thanks for that. So anyway, they go to court. The family's claim is upheld. The woman, this woman who died, was coerced by George, and the previous will of the
one before
is being upheld. Exactly. So George isn't getting any of this cash, and he also has to pay the legal costs for both sides. So yeah. Not looking so good for him. Maybe
this is really sad. Like, if you think about the woman, like, I know this woman has been depicted, the daughter, as like some evil harridan
Annie, yeah.
Harpy woman. But really, if you thought your mum had been brainwashed by some smooth talking, like, guy, and you'd lost both your parents, because that's what happened. Her dad died, and then her mum died, and then all, like, some of her money, like 10 grand. Of her inheritance goes to this guy that you think is like, because you see it all the time. Lots of people talking.
Annie's sister?
I don't remember, but I think it's so sad. I think it's really sad.
Yeah. It's no wonder she's gunning for him. That's it. Annie,
no.
Annie, get your gun.
Yeah. But it's just really sad because obviously George didn't do anything wrong.
I was really shocked by this verdict, actually.
Yeah. But then
I don't care that much about it because I'm sure George will be fine at the end of the storyline.
Wow, Oh no, I have to sell my big house that I don't live in.
No, I don't know how he's going to get out of it, but we all know he will.
He was throwing money around not that long ago when he was talking to Glenda about buying her out.
He gave Todd £20.
He's got £21 down now in that bank account, and however much the mint imperials cost. I'm sure Glenda made him pay for.
Didn't Theo give him his money back?
£21 up.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a bit of a surprise.
Making money if you keep getting it thrown at you.
Am I ready for this story to be over? It doesn't feel like the George Shuttleworth morning suit story is that huge of a story, is it? And it is in his little world. But when we've got the other, stories, it doesn't feel like it really needed to be any longer than
comparison,
this. But having more George and Christina on our screens, brilliant.
In comparison to what else is happening, this is very small fry. But this is the sort of story that Corrie should really be about, because this is a kind of like... Yeah, small potatoes kind of story that would ruin your life, genuinely. And it's something that Coronation Street hasn't really done before. But if you were in the papers for being found guilty of coercing a grieving widow into giving you money, your business would be toast. Like, he keeps people... The way Corrie depicts him is like he's overreacting to this, and say, I've brought the Shuttleworth name into disrepute. He really has... I wouldn't go to
Well, he hasn't, but the name has been brought into disrepute. Annie's brought the name into disrepute.
Well, it was a misunderstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to a business like that who'd been in the papers for being shady.
No. But at the end of the day, I still think that things will be fine. But maybe it shouldn't be, because Corrie so much likes to keep the status quo, don't they? That's why the cabin's still there. That's why Underworld is still there. That's why Preston's is still there. And I know it went through a period of being the bookies, and then it was the pawnbrokers, but there's been so few big changes to the look of the street for years now. So I think that probably somehow Shuttleworths will be fine, but I hope that they have got a good reason for it being fine, and it doesn't just feel like sweep it under the carpet. We've done with this storyline now. I don't know.
Well, George is in trouble. He's got to pay legal costs.
Yes. So they all go back to the Rovers afterwards, and Todd comes in and said, "You need to fight this miscarriage of justice," which is kind of nice that he's, after being the horrible things that he said.
I said before, it was a miscarriage of justice, didn't I?
He did.
And Todd would know because he used to be a legal clerk.
You'd never know that, would you, these days? No. He says, "You got to fight this," and George is like, "I've got no fight left in me." Sorry. Todd's, which is interesting because that's similar to Todd, isn't it? In some ways, maybe they'll help each other out of their funk. Anyway, Todd goes home later, and Theo isn't particularly happy to hear that he's been with George, and he says, "Oh, why don't you grab your little bag and go then?" And Todd's like, "No, I want to be with you now." "Well, start acting like it then," says Theo.
He does. Yeah,
great stuff. Yeah, nothing much to say there, really. I thought that was another cracking little storyline this week.
Next, we move on to Jody.
Yeah, not as invested. Like, if my investment in the other stories is, 8 or 9 out of 10, this is definitely down, lingering in the 3s and 4s at the moment. Don't you think?
Yeah, and again, like I said before, it's quite hilarious that at the moment Jody really hasn't done anything hugely wrong. But no. It's like, oh yeah, she should be a victim in the flash forward because she's a bitch.
There's kind of the threat of maybe she's trying to steal David away from Shona, but even that has been a bit on the down low, hasn't it? She's got her secret box. It's got Bernie's face and Brian's book in, among other trinkets. And she's just a bit manipulative. She's being low-key manipulative at the moment and just being a bit of a cow to Bethany.
And shady. And that's not really a capital offence.
Not in the grand scheme of things. No, I wouldn't push her down the stairs for it.
Oh, I'd push anyone down the stairs if I thought I could get away with it. On Monday, Bethany's got a date tomorrow, but she's like a bit weird. She feels a bit weird about it because it's the first time she's had a date since she had her stoma installed. And Shona and Jody go, "Look, just go for it. Just go for it." Maria and Shona are talking about Bethany being a journalist later.
Oh yeah, this is at the salon, wasn't it?
And they're all having their nails done. And Jodie's like being a bit sarcastic because I think Bethany's doing her nails, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, you're not a journalist now, are you?" And Bethany gives her a bit of a sarcastic smile back, and she's really feeling quite attacked.
I've been enjoying Lucy Fallon's kind of. She's also not smiling with her eyes.
No, she's not smiling.
She's giving it's a little flash of a smile, but her eyes are saying, "You cow, you bitch, I'm going to get you."
Who was it that Bethany was? Oh, it was Daisy. Bethany and Daisy used to be rivals.
Yes, I'm definitely getting vibes of Bethany versus Daisy here.
Bethany needs a female antagonist, doesn't she? She's like, there must be a villain in my life.
Yeah, the difference here is that those were both characters that I cared more about, and actually I was on kind of Team Daisy a lot more.
Well, they were fighting over something concrete, weren't they? They were fighting over Daniel.
Yeah.
Whereas Jody is just against Bethany for some reason. I
don't know what she's doing here. But maybe that's why I'm a bit not invested in it, because I'm like, what are you doing?
Jodie is just really hard to read because nothing she does makes any sense, and I'm assuming at some point it will all come together. But I do genuinely think the answer is, she's just a psycho.
I don't know. I really don't know.
And that's not really satisfying, is it? Unless you're in a horror movie.
They've got to explain what she was doing, tied up in that van. So there is something big going on here.
But again, I think she's caused it. I don't think she's a victim.
I don't know.
So anyway, Jodie grabs Bethany's phone when she gets up and tells the date, "Don't bother coming," and then deletes the text so she won't find out.
Poor Ethan.
On Wednesday, Sarah and Bethany are talking about it, and Bethany's super into it, gets all dolled up, goes to the bistro, and realises that she's being stood up. Phones Ethan up, and he tells her that, it's her fault, and she's really confused. She puts the phone down just as Jody comes in, and Jody's like, "Oh, what happened? I thought you were having a date." And she's like, "Well, Ethan didn't turn up." And Jody says, let's just have a drink together.
They get talking about Theo and Todd a little bit, don't they? And at the end of the conversation,
yes,
Bethany tells Sarah there's something not right about her.
Yeah, because Sarah's asking for advice because Jody had positioned herself as an abuse victim.
Oh, yes.
Because she said, she went and she copied that person's story.
Yeah.
And so Sarah's like, you went through this. How did you get out?
Of abuse.
And Jody says, you just leave it. Just wait. and then he'll work it out himself. And Bethany's like, this is a bit weird, Mum. I don't really like this girl. So she gets her investigative journalist hat on.
She narrows her eyes, doesn't she? That's how you know. It's
time for Nancy Drew to get on the case. Mm-hmm. So on Thursday, Lisa finds Bethany and David in speed dial, and Carla had engaged her services as a babysitter.
Yes.
And so Lisa's like, oh, how's it going on? Basically comes out that she didn't check. Nobody checked Jodie's...
Well, yeah, but Carla's supposedly done
it.
Well,
Carla did the background checks, Lisa says, which I think's caused a bit of controversy because it's not clear from the show as to whether Carla did do background checks or just believed her because she lived next door. And honestly, I can't really see too much of an issue with going, I'm my next door neighbour, I trust them.
No, I don't either.
I mean, I know there's
back
loads
when we were kids and we used to leave our back doors open, and
I know there's loads of horror stories about what happens when it goes wrong, but that's the reason that they're horror stories is because it normally doesn't happen that way.
The thing is, as I said probably last week, Jodie will be DBS checked.
Why?
Because she has been a nanny.
Yeah, but Michael, you're assuming that she was a nanny under circumstances that are completely above board. She could have forged documents and had a fake name.
I suppose.
I don't trust anything she's ever done. I don't think she was a proper nanny. I think she was a fake. I think that she left that family because she got involved with whatever it was with that Emmerdale guy. Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't think she's on the up and up, Michael. I don't think she's got actual
credentials.
No, I don't think so.
I thought, what was I thinking? I thought it was interesting how the nannying or fostering, it was nannying, wasn't it? It was brought up in a way that Bethany and Shona and everybody knew that that's what she did, because I don't think we've heard Jodie talking to Bethany and Shona about the fact that she's done that. And Bethany kind of played along, but I didn't know whether she was playing along or whether she had known about it.
Why is that common knowledge?
But it probably would be, wouldn't it?
Why?
Like, if Jodie has been staying with them for, 2 months now, probably the conversation of, so what have you been doing, Jodie, has come up. And if she has been an above-board nanny, why wouldn't she have mentioned it? Or even if she's not been an above-board nanny, she might have still mentioned it.
Okay, I don't care.
So, I don't know.
So, they talk about this, and Bethany is listening, and then when Lisa goes, Bethany says, did you check Jodie's credentials yourself? And he's like, why would I? On Friday, Bethany and Jodie go to the bistro, and Bethany's like trying to find out details about her. They're basically on going out as mates.
Yeah, she says, did you used to go partying?
Yeah, she's trying to fish for information.
Doesn't get
and
anything.
She's very still suspicious of Jodie. Only asks her out for a drink because she wants to find out dirt on her. But then it all turns around when Daniel turns up, a bit drunk, moaning about how everybody ends up with is a crazy nut job, including Bethany.
I have so many girlfriends. All the girls fancy me, and they're all nutcases.
They're all hot and mad.
Even you, Bethany. And he's not completely wrong.
No, he's not wrong. Adam comes and takes him away because but before then, Jodie goes, I don't even know who you are, but you're being rude to my very good friend Bethany. I think you should apologise and go away. And so Bethany...
Yeah, Adam comes over and says, oh, I'm sorry about my uncle. And Jodie's probably looking like, Uncle?
What has happened?
Oh, I am in a soap.
So Bethany says, you know what, Jodie, you had my back there. I think I got you wrong. You're a good mate.
Does she really think that, though? Like, would something as small as that?
Oh, it's a soap.
It was very
like, look, we've only got 22 minutes to do this, so you're my best friend now.
The delivery of the line did make it look like Bethany had changed her mind.
Oh, of course, yeah. And meanwhile, Daniel is there going to Adam, oh, I want an uncomplicated woman, like a brunette, like that one, Jodie.
Yeah, Jodie seems normal.
It's like all the blondes I've gone out with are mad, so a brunette's obviously normal. So she's the nearest one. I want to shag her. Can you arrange it, please, Adam?
So do you think he's going to go down that route?
Yes.
He's got a couple of weeks.
What horrible thing is she going to do? She's running out of time to do really horrible things that make her a deserved victim.
But like you said, Daniel is so fragile at the moment that if he does go out with Jodie and she wrongs him in some way, and we know that he can be explosive and a bit pushy, does he
Just push her down the
He's
stairs.
not going to make. They're not going to make Daniel a killer. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
100%. Daniel is not going to become a killer in 3 weeks' time. So I hope they don't lead us to think that it could be him, because it's wasted brain space. Speaking of villains who are just being a bit sad that they're not even up for consideration for the murderer, Mal.
This is such a weird decision. I can only assume that something happens to Mal before the 23rd of April.
Yeah, to mean that it can't possibly be
really,
him.
Genuinely, he is, at the moment, a much better candidate than Jody or even Carl, actually.
Do you think that they originally had Mal in consideration, and then they said, look, people are already going to say that we're copying the 6 in EastEnders, but if we've literally got 6 people that it can be...
Sorry, we need another one, or we need to get rid of you.
Who are we going to cut? Who's not going to be? That's sorry, Mal. It's you. But there's not a whole lot that happens here. He comes bursting into number 7 on Sunday saying, Dev, you need to know the truth about who attacked me. It was Kit. Bernie knew all along. She let you get locked up, and she offered me a night in the sack to try and keep you quiet, to try and keep me quiet. And I refused Bernie, so she hit me. And Bernie, I'll be here for you when Dev dumps you. And he's kind of Dev's striding around the lounge later, clearly trying to process this information that he's taken in. And she's like, no, it was, Kit hit him, but he didn't, it was a heart attack that got him in hospital, really. I couldn't have thrown him to the wolves, could I? And so he goes to the police station to make sure that Mal's dropped the charges, which he does, doesn't he? I think we find out this week. There was a great little scene on one of the episodes where Dev is there at the bar, and the cat... The framing of it is interesting because he's at the bottom of the shot and there's pub behind him. I don't know. I enjoyed that. Look, basically, by midweek, Dev's forgiven Bernie. I think that's basically what we can say about it.
I saw somebody, I think it was on our Facebook group, going, I do not understand what Dev sees in Bernie, why he keeps taking her back. I don't think they don't make sense together. I hate, I don't buy them as a couple. But I'm sorry, I absolutely adore them. And my heart melted on Wednesday when Dev takes Bernie on a date. I just love them. It's because they're not suited to each other. And it's just lovely seeing them make it work, even though they're from completely different backgrounds.
Yeah, she's not his type traditionally.
That's the point. That's why it's a good story. I think what it is about it is because I really like Dev. It shows he's matured as a person from when he was first in the show. Like, when he was first in the show, it was all pretty girls and
a girl in every shot, wasn't it? Literally.
Yeah, being a bit of a womanizer and a surface level kind of person. And I think Sunita was very sweet, but it didn't feel like they had they loved each other, but it didn't feel like he always probably thought he was better than her, a bit like Daniel. But now I think that he can see that Bernie is his equal, even though she might not have the same opinions or beliefs or life experience or, financial status.
Yeah, exactly. Money.
Like, he doesn't care about those things that mattered so much to him and kind of were a hindrance in his life almost up until this point. He's let that go. That materialism has kind of left him, and he is open for love with the right person, and that person is Bernie, and I just love that. And also,
with a commoner.
And it's funny because Bernie is such an anti-capitalist kind of like woo-woo spiritualist, and Dev's completely the opposite of that too. I just love that she's seen something in him, like that special spark.
And he in her, which is why it's just sweet that he has forgiven her.
Yes.
Again this week, and you're right. The date scene when he's like all dolled up, dressed up, and she is as well, and. Yeah. I can't remember. He tells her that she looks nice, and then it's like, so that she can say it back to him. It was lovely.
Yeah, and I think it's clearly just setting up something terrible for Mal to do to them.
Well,
but I'm glad that we skipped weeks and weeks of brooding from Dev and Bernie grovelling.
We've had that.
We knew that they were going to end up back together or split up. So I'd rather they just cut to the chase and have them back together. Because I like them as a couple. I'm sorry, but they all them and Christina and George are probably my favourite couples on
David
Corrie.
and Shona?
I think they're third. I do. I prefer. I think that these older two couples are more interesting to me because they've had life experience and they're picking somebody that isn't necessarily the best match. Go on.
Well, David's had enough life experience already squeezed into
David's got many years worth.
into his 35 odd years or however old he is. Yeah, the end shot of this story was them getting into the car, wasn't it? And they're being watched from through the cabin window by Mal, who's clearly plotting something.
Yeah,
I mean, we knew that already, but it was like an ending shot for the story, just as a way to tell us it's not over yet.
There was also a scene where Kit comes to say sorry to Dev, and he like lets him have it and says basically, "I'm not. That's it. We're not friends. You know, I'm going to tolerate you, but
yeah,
you've ruined it." Which I don't know if that's going to come up.
I doubt it. Usually, when people have these, the next time we see them together is in 3 weeks' time, when they've forgiven and forgotten off screen.
I bet Dev still gives him an Easter egg.
Well,
he's like, basically his son.
I'm sure that you're right. The last time that we saw Debbie and Lou, they were at each other's throats for one thing or another. I think it was because Lou had told Sally, who told blah 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 about what
TIA.
And they hated each other. But then this week it got a bit of a mention, but they'd had that kiss and make up off screen, which was good because I just adore everything that is Debbie and Lou. They're like the new couple. What's it called?
Partnership.
Yeah, partnership that I never knew that I wanted.
I know.
I think they're just great.
It's because Lou is so violent and she makes so many bad decisions.
She's got that
proper rough
spark that enamoured me to Abby so much.
Yeah, like
in the early days.
A Corrie wild woman like Becky. Like, you love them, but they just constantly mess up because their emotions get the better of them.
Yeah. But every time she does something like that, you know, she got a solitary this week.
You're like, go on, Lou.
You're gonna I was saying go on, Lou, but then when it's like, but is this going to extend her sentence? Right. I just need the Corrie writers to come up with some way, and I don't even care if there's a retcon here.
Yeah, just
to get Lou out of prison. Just, wake up one day and Lou's walking down the street. No, I was never in prison. What are you talking about? Like, that is the kind of retcon I'm here for.
Oh my God.
Forget about Toya and a dead baby.
You would never shut up if that happened. So, talking about Debbie and Lou, let's just get into what actually happened. She's got her appeal. Debbie's got her appeal on Friday.
Yes, I thought it said Friday, which is because we're out of sync, can't we? So that's this Easter Sunday then.
Debbie goes to her cell and she gets a funny moment. She gets really confused and she doesn't know what's happening.
Yes, the camera gets all squishy around the outside.
Lou has to help her out. And on Wednesday, she gets upset again because she's lost her journal that she writes everything down that she's got to remember. And she gets really paranoid and thinks that one of the prison guards has stolen it. And so she goes to confront her, and poor old Lou is trying to stop her, but she can't because she's so huge.
Well, she's just barks then. You did it. I know you. Yeah,
she gets
think you're all sweetness and light, but you've stolen
the warden's
my thing.
There, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and she just keeps attacking her. She's like goading her and moaning about her journal.
Yeah, and then you've got all the other cons in the background that are finding this hilarious.
That one that's been a cow.
Yeah.
Lou picks on her, I think, deliberately to make a distraction. So she fights with this other prisoner.
I can't remember what her name is.
And then it turns into a massive brawl, and the warden presses the alarm, and Debbie's there just watching, completely terrified. Later on, she has to apologise to the warden about it and say, sorry, I forgot. It's not a warden or whatever they call them.
Because she finds the diary in her pillowcase, doesn't she?
Well, she finds the diary after she's already apologised. She finds out that Lou's in solitary doodah. Which sounds a bit like you fell on your own poo.
It does, doesn't it?
Debbie owes her one, she realises. And then she also finds her journal in her pillowcase and goes, oh.
I thought that was a really nicely played scene because the joy and the relief on Debbie's face, and she gives a little diary a hug, doesn't she? And then it kind of dawns on her that Lou's in solitary doodah because of me. And I hopefully not thinking, am I going to be in doodah with Lou when she gets out? But luckily, Lou's doesn't hold grudges against Debbie, does she?
No, she doesn't. So she comes out of solitary and they have a hug, doesn't hold a grudge. Guard comes, tells Debbie she got visitors. It is Jack and Kevin, who's had a shave. They both seem fine. They're happy about the appeal, but Debbie is struggling to work out how to get juice out of this juice box, which is obviously another symptom.
It's getting... What? It feels like It's like you say, like you got a leaflet about what happens when I've got early onset dementia. You won't be able to locate the straw on the side of your Capri Sun. Mm-hmm. It feels like little bits like that are happening a bit more regularly now, and I don't know whether they're saying, well, it's being in prison that's accelerating.
I'm not.
And if she comes out, she'll be better. But
when they had that bit during this week where Debbie was struggling with her symptoms again, I was like, oh, I kind of fooled myself into thinking that Debbie would just be okay,
yeah, I know.
And she would have the odd moment, and they would be just every other month or something. But then I was like, this will just happen more and more. And I'm
totally in denial.
Yeah,
really at the moment that this is what's going to happen, even though this is what everybody said.
Yeah.
When they revealed this story, before they revealed this story was going to happen and it leaked, everyone was like, no, don't want this to happen. But I mean, we've had a glorious year of Debbie since then, and in my head, it's like, well, they've said that she's going to stay in at least until next year. So I'm like, Debbie, we're still aged, but that time is going to come thick and fast. And, like what happened with Paul with his MND and the symptoms just started getting worse and worse. Yeah. At some point, we're going to get to the stage where it accelerates.
I just can't watch it. I love her so much.
Gosh,
she's like I think maybe Hayley having cancer was... the equivalent, where it's like, I do not want this character to leave. I don't know why they've done this. I want them to stay, and now I've got to watch them slowly die. Like, what is this?
But still, at least most of the time, at the moment, 95% of the time, Debbie is still 100% the Debbie that we love.
I know, but it's just such an annoying shame that they couldn't have found a way to put her in the show without giving her the story, like you said, like we've just said, the story really hasn't had to have been about her dementia this whole time. She's had dramas without that. Anyway, Debbie and comes back
to Kate Brooks.
She comes back to Lou, and Lou's made her a 4-leaf clover for good luck.
That was so sweet, lovely writing.
It was just really nice.
Just like giving you an extra one for luck. I'm so glad. Not that she needed redeeming in my eyes, but I'm really glad that this prison story has been the redemption of Lou.
Yeah, I know.
Because a lot of people, when she got thrown away, they're like, yeah, sort of locked away, like throw away the key, don't need her back again. But
I did like her.
We all want Lou back now, don't we?
She's just oh man.
She's the best. Lou is super.
But she's not though. That's why I like her, because
she's flawed.
She's like a violent criminal still. She like,
but she's got a
heart.
Her
answer to somebody looking at her funny is to beat them up and end up in solitary doodah.
All she needs is to go and live at the cafe with Roy. He'll get her sorted
Roy
out.
will be like, you can't be beating people up. If I beat everyone up who came in here and wanted hoops instead of beans with their full English, I would be in prison again.
Lauren isn't going to make it there in my eyes, but Lou could 100% be the new Becky, and that is high praise from a big Becky McDonald fan. Yeah, I'm talking about Becky McDonald, not Becky, not Becky Swain, of course. Though I love her as well. She's just the best. She's really, really the best. There's lots of it's going to be really tough this week to choose character of the week, because I could go for Lou because she's brilliant. I could go with Debbie whenever isn't Debbie character of the week potential if she's in the week. Maggie, love her this week. That scene great. When she went to confront Megan
and just battered her into the wall.
Yeah, maybe that's about it. Maybe they're my three potential. Who? But then there's George. You got George, you got Todd, you got pretty much everyone on Team Shuttleworth. Actually, I mean, most of them have been fairly low key compared to the main players. Theo could be character of the week. He's very entertaining for me in a horrible sort of way. And then like I said, Maggie, Debbie, Lou. There's been lots of really strong, watchable characters this week. I think
I'm gonna go Maggie, but I really that's what I'm love leaning Lou towards. And Debbie as well.
But if I'm looking at the week as a whole, Gary this week.
Gary was great. I think it's because it happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
And
he hasn't done much since then.
No.
I'll go with Maggie.
And Mikey North does this really scary look, doesn't he? Where he kind of tips his chin down and his eyes get super intense and he glowers and you're like, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If he looked at me like that, I would just die. I would spontaneously combust.
It's like how Phelan used to.
Yeah. Just suddenly lower the head and the eyes get super intense and you're like, oh, it's going to Rick Neal in him.
Yeah. It feels like it's the easy option to go with Maggie.
So what? Look, Michael, we've been talking for 3 hours. We're allowed to go for the easy option.
Maggie it is then for me.
Yeah.
I am going to settle on 4 pints of stout and half a dozen oysters out of 5 this week, I think.
Is that 4 half dozen oysters? So
no,
is it 24 oysters? Or is it
oh gosh, I don't know.
4 pints and half a dozen oysters.
4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 is what I'm going for.
Me too. I'm going to give it 4 full Irishes.
Okay.
You prefer a full Irish, I think.
What's a full Irish?
It's like a full English, except you have white and black pudding and potato farls, but no beans.
Well, I'd be happy with the no beans, but I don't want white and black pudding on. I just want the sausage, a bacon, maybe a bit of fried bread. I'm in the mood, which isn't all the time.
No, you don't normally have.
Egg, 1 egg will do. It's really about the sausage and the bacon for me.
Tomato?
Yeah.
Hash browns?
Hash browns.
Controversial
Hash
addition.
browns have got to be in there. Tomatoes, see, I'd still probably rather have tin tomatoes, but we usually go for real, don't we, when we're having a full
real,
English.
not fake, those fake ones. I know, I used to only just do tin tomatoes, but in the last 10 years, started doing fresh ones.
I'm sure people very much care about our breakfast habits, but they're willing the podcast to move on. So move on we shall. That is it for Street Talk this week.